And I'm just waiting for y'all to step in the room, step in the building, okay? All right. I wanted to just take a little minute to touch on this one. So I'm waiting for y'all. See how everybody is doing today. How is people's day going? How are things transpiring for y'all out here? All right. It's midday. Okay, a little midday powwow. See what everybody is up to, into, talking about. Give it another minute or two. But I wanted to jump in here, and I definitely wanted to discuss this one because I definitely feel like there's some elements of this conversation that could be very helpful to people that are looking to make that type of shift, okay? Good afternoon for me. Did I say, I might have said good morning to y'all when I came in here. I might have said good morning to y'all when I came in here. Hello, hello. Yes, ma'am. So also in the comment section, good afternoon. Also in the comment section after this one, y'all, if y'all would like to have talks that are a little more deeper in nature like this one, or a little more, I guess, esoteric in nature, then y'all just let me know in the comment section and we can just build from that point. Y'all just let me know what the goals are. Good to see you too, Leah. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started, y'all. So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like when people do discuss light feminine energy, dark feminine energy, or dark feminine energy in general, there are still so many women, because I get this question like, well, what is dark feminine energy? What are we really talking about here? There's still so many women that want to be able to, congratulations, Aluma. There are so many women that want to be able to make this shift or make this change, or that simply are just confused. They don't really know what's going on. They don't really know what they're being asked or what this is all about. So let's break it down to energy, because I feel like that's what'll put this all in perspective, right? When this is looked at strictly from the energetic perspective. So that's the direction we're going to take with this. First of all, when we talk about light feminine energy, we got to talk about light. And I feel like that's the best starting point. We got to talk about light. Light energy is active, okay? It moves very swiftly. In fact, universally, nothing moves faster than the speed of light. So if we look at it from that perspective, we're talking about light energy. We're talking about action. We're talking about what moves very swiftly. We're talking about that which moves very quickly, that which takes action. So when we look at a woman that's in light feminine energy, this is a woman that is very active, okay? She may be very energetically active in that she's emotionally active, right? A lot of empathy, a lot of showing up for everybody, a lot of emotional activity in regards to when you look at relationships or when you look at dating. There's a lot of activity there. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what's going to be said. I wonder if this, I wonder if that. There's a lot of that type of energy there. This is the type of feminine energy. Oh, he hasn't called in 10 days. I better call him. Don't forget to like the live, y'all. He hasn't called me in 10 days. I better call him. Yeah, there's a lot of action. I got to figure out what to do to make sure that everybody is safe. I got to figure out what to do to make sure all of these other grown people have the things that they need. Something has gone wrong. I have to be the one to show up. I have to be the one that cares. I have to be the one that invests. I have to be the one in motion. I have to be the one doing this, doing that, doing. Because light, it manifests things, right? Let there be light. That gave a direction, that gave directive. Let there be light gave everybody the keys to know what was going to happen. I'm creating something. So let there be light. I am creating something. I am speaking into existence. I am doing. I am acting. I am pursuing. I am, right? Dark energy, dark feminine energy. But let's talk about dark energy. Dark energy is chaos, womb energy, that which is still, that which doesn't exist, right? It is the essence of non-existence. It is the unmanifested energy. It is womb energy. Womb energy is where things become, right? There is no birth yet. Okay, nothing has been birthed, nothing has been said, nothing has been spoken into existence, or nothing has actually been birthed, right? Everything is still just kind of moving, growing, forming. Okay, because of this, things are formed within dark energy, right? Let there be light was spoken within the dark, because remember, at first there was darkness. And within that darkness, God spoke. I'm taking y'all to the roots of what we're talking about energetically, okay? So what existed around all of the action and activity was darkness, was what was not said. Nothing had been said, nothing had been done. There was just energy. And within this energy, things had to be created. Something had to be said. Light had to be separated from darkness. Action had to be taken from the darkness, from which was just sitting there. This is just darkness, is just sitting. This is the great nothing. This is the universal energy that holds within it every single possibility. This is the fiber of creation, okay? This is the fiber of creation. This is the very essence of creation, right? So a woman in dark feminine energy just exists, okay? Just exist. She just is. And within her just being, things have to create themselves around her, within her stillness, within her silence, within her darkness. That is what main character energy truly is, okay? That is what it really is. That is where it really comes from, is standing in dark feminine energy, right? Dark feminine energy, the essence of existence, is to just be. You are not running after anybody. You're not standing in all of this action. I must speak, I must do, I must be. You're not doing any of that. I have to show up. I have to get it done. You exist. And in darkness, things form within it. So that means that everything and everyone around you has to find its place around you. You are the center of gravity. You are the all. You are the it. And everything has to find its place around you. You are not rushing to be formed around other people. How can I show up? What action can I do? What can I say? What can I do? You're not doing that. You're allowing things to form around you, right? You just are. You just exist. Let's look at a dating example, right? Now we want to look at how this actually looks. Let's look at dating. There is no pursuit on your end. There is no rush to call back. You just are. If there's a masculine energy, or whoever you're dating that you're pursuing, let's say they cool off, they stop calling, they're not giving proper energy. Say they are supposed to be a patriarch in your life, the child, your child's father, things like that. They're supposed to do these things, right? They're not doing them. A lot of times when women are in light feminine energy, they immediately start trying to correct these things, or they become emotionally active. I got to call. I got to say, I got to do. I got to figure out. I got to get on top of this. What's going on? I got to pray. There's all this. I have to do something. I have to speak something. I have to become active. Dark feminine energy just is. That means you just accept because you observe. You're not there to alter what anybody else is doing. You're going to allow people to be who they are, and you're going to observe, and you're going to exist. So let's use the example of a father, like I said, like somebody that's not showing up as a father. The dark feminine is going to accept this, right? She's not going to run anybody down. She's not going to do any of that. If there are things that need to be done legally, she'll do that. But the desperation to speak and change the circumstance, I must speak. She's not trying to wrestle with anybody about who they are, because she just is. She is the stillness. And the stillness is the feminine energy that observes, that watches, that respects existence. Because to be completely honest, there's a lot of respect that goes into allowing people to be who they are, right? It doesn't matter if who they are is not righteous or agreeable. To respect who they are and then decide what you will and will not be available for is the most respectful thing that you can do. That is dark feminine energy, right? You're not trying to force a man who doesn't care to be a father to father. You're not trying to force that mother that some may have that doesn't care to be your mother to mother. You are accepting her for exactly what she is. And you allow it. And then you decide what you're going to do within your own existence. When you do that, that mother who has not been much of a mother to you is going to suffer the consequences of losing access to you, or she's going to suffer the consequences or whatever your decision is. Say you decide to remove yourself. That's what she's going to experience, your consequences. She's not going to experience the chasing, the trying to create action, speak action. You can't do this. This isn't right. Please call me. What's going on? Oh my God, I care so much. I'm so hurt. I'm so devastated. You don't do any of that, because you are the center of gravity. You are what exists. Absolutely. You don't need anybody to affirm you. You don't need anybody to tell you anything in particular. You don't need anybody to help you figure anything out. You don't need anybody to explain to you who they are and why they're doing what they're doing. You're not doing any of that. You just are, right? You stand in your own gravitational energy. Okay? That's the way that you're moving forward with that. This is why you hear say, oh, I don't chase, I attract. That's become a very common thing to say. I don't chase, I attract. That's become a very, almost just a saying. It's just something folks say, I don't chase, I attract. But there's a reason for that. You don't chase, you attract is what happens when you stand firm in dark energy. Dark energy pulls, right? Dark energy pulls things to it. It pulls things in. We know that from black holes, right? It pulls things in. Okay. This is why you'll see people often getting obsessed with dark feminine energies, because once they are pulled in, they can't necessarily get out. And I just mean that in terms of their emotions. They may get emotionally hooked. They get emotionally stuck. They can't stop calling. They're addicted to the intimacy. They're addicted to the sensuality. They're addicted to, the way that this woman carries herself. They're addicted to the way that she behaves. All of this has to do with a woman who is standing firm in dark energy. She is not trying to transform anybody. Okay? She's not trying to get anybody to see how valuable she is. If somebody pulls back, she does not chase them. She stays still, standing in the same position. Okay. She's not running anything down. That would be taking action and trying to force a manifestation. That would be her not being the center of her own universe, right? That would be her not being the center of her own universe. Being the center of your own universe, you let everybody figure out who they want to be. If somebody stops calling, that means they figured out that they don't want to be there. You respect that, because also in understanding dark energy, you understand that within it is endless possibility. So you don't chase anybody who doesn't want to be there. You don't try to convince anybody that you're the, try me out. You don't try to convince anybody that you're what's happening, because there's too many other people out there that already, they're out there. See, they already exist. Dark energy understands that there's endless possibility within it. So you understand that even if nobody is there right now, there's an endless supply of people out there that would love to be there. So you don't operate in scarcity. You don't operate in like, oh my God, I better convince people I'm valuable. Even if those 26 people don't think you're valuable, you understand, because you understand dark energy and you understand endless possibility and you understand that you're the center of your own universe, that there's still 26,000 people that will see you and already know how great you are. So you're never out there trying to convince anybody of anything, because you understand that you are a part of the essence of of all things. So why would you be running anything down? Things come to you. There's no other way for that to go. Okay. Also, when you're standing firmly in dark feminine energy, you understand that you are the sun, right? In a sense, let's use that, because that's easy to say. Okay. I won't even use the sun. I won't use the sun. For feminine energies, you are the moon, right? We know that the moon even has a gravitational pull. It's exalted and it's illuminated, right? It is illuminated by the light of the sun. But even the sun is doing something that affects the moon. The moon is just there. That's the point I'm trying to get. The moon is just there. It's not involved in trying to shine on it. It's not doing any of that. And it has its own gravity. Emotions, right? We're talking about water, right? Tides and waves. Even emotions are pulled towards the moon. Everything becomes pulled towards that, which is just there. A light makes a decision to shine on it. The moon has done nothing but exist and be exalted. And everything around it in the universe and nature, this is feminine energy. We're talking about true goddess feminine energy. Everything in the atmosphere is figuring out how it's going to be in relationship to the moon. The moon is not out there shining on anybody. The moon is not out there. The moon is just there. Okay. Also, in terms of thought, right? Thought versus action. Okay. Everything starts in the mind. We know this. And if you don't know now, you know. Okay. Everything starts in the mind. When you don't react, when you aren't out there practicing empathy all the time and practicing, oh my God, I have to make sure everybody's okay. I have to make sure that everybody when you're not out there nurturing everybody, even the people that might not have asked to be nurtured, you just feel that's what needs to be going on and you're showing up for everybody. There's no room for people to really know exactly how they feel about you. Okay? There's no room for that. When you're in dark feminine energy and you're just existing in stillness, you give people the room to make those decisions about you. You give them the room to create their own thoughts about you. This is how you can decipher who's authentic and who really wants to be in your space and who doesn't. Because you've allowed these people the room, okay? You've allowed these people the room to make decisions about you in their own private time. So who comes towards you really wants to come towards you. They thought about it. They made a decision to come towards you. You didn't do anything. You didn't try to influence their thinking. You didn't try to speak to them in a way that would get them to think this or that. You weren't trying to buy their affections. You weren't trying to text them, I got to respond to every text. You didn't do any of that. Okay. You didn't keep begging this person to work and be in partnership with them. You exist. Okay. You let them know what your professional qualifications are. You let them know what you're capable of. You let them know what you could do. And then you took your hands off of that. You give people the space to create in their own mind how they see you and what they want to do. Okay. You allow, once again, the universe to create itself around you. You're not out there doing. Okay. True feminine energy does not do that. It just is. It exists in an exalted place, right? We're going back to the moon, somewhere far off for people to look to, right? People to look to. Oh my God, there goes the moon. Let them decide how they want the moon to show up in their life. People know what they want, right? And you see women that may try to influence what people want. I gotta. You don't have to do anything. People know what they want. The job, the partnership, they know who they want. They know how they want. There's no reason for you to go running after anything. That's insanity. You don't have to go running after anything. Everything that you are, everything that exists within you, that's all you need. Because in order to get a lot of the results that women will say that they want, you want this type of job, this type of life. You want to wake up in this type of reality. You want to have these types of friends. You want people to stop hating on you. You want people to stop giving you a hard time. You want to stop finding out that the people that you have closest to you are actually not your friends. They don't really like you. You want to stop finding out that people don't really see you the way you see yourself. You want to stop experiencing betrayal, heartbreak, etc. A lot of that has to do with taking your hands off the wheel, having some value in who you are, and laying back off the gas and just resting. One thing about people that are haters, that really don't like you and all this types of stuff, they'll expose themselves. You don't even have to confront them. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to, you don't even have to say anything to them. They will expose themselves. They will expose themselves. What is this question? How do you handle energy vampires, meaning people that use you, but only for their benefit? You don't handle them. You stop talking to them. Nobody can suck your energy if they're not getting access to you, right? Again, dark feminine energy just exists. Just let them slide off. You don't even have to say anything. Stop answering the phone. Stop responding to anything they text you, send you, ask you. Let them slide away. You don't handle people like that. Energy vampires use your mind. You have to use your mind. Your mind is your universe. Remove that person from your mind and they will be removed from your life. Don't react to them. Don't think about them anymore. And they will be poof pow gone from your universe. You don't have to handle anybody. Let them handle themselves. Hey, golden girl. Let them handle themselves. Like I said before, right? Think of the moon. Let's go back to the moon. Think of the moon. High, exalted, shining, right? Up in the sky. Shining because the sun decided. And if we look at male and female energy, right, with the male energy being associated with the sun and the female energy being associated with the light, this man has decided to shine on this moon. Okay. She's not out here trying to force anybody to do anything. She's not pulling herself closer to the sun. Please shine on me. Shine on me. Baby, she's not out there singing any gospel hymns or tunes or anything. Okay. She's just out there shining because this is what he wants to do. He wants to shine on her. Think of it from that perspective. Something that's that high up and that removed. How does someone suck energy from that? If someone can suck energy from you, you're not exalting yourself and you're not putting yourself at a distance. Distance is absolutely necessary. In order for you to control your environment, you have to have some distance from people, especially as a woman. Now let's talk about distance. There's a lot of different ways we could look at distance. Sometimes you cannot be physically distant from a person, but you can be emotionally and spiritually distant. Withhold your energy. Don't tell them everything about yourself. Even if they hurt your feelings, don't mention it. Just act accordingly. You don't have to let everybody know how you feel all the time. Again, light feminine energy. Light feminine energy is all about communication and the speed of communication. How quickly can you communicate it? How quickly can it be expressed? Fast. I feel you've hurt my feelings. You're an energy vampire. You don't have to say any of that. You saw it. You observed it. This person's an energy vampire and they are trying to rain down on me. Yeah, I'm going to get out the way. You don't have to tell them anything. You don't owe that to people, right? Dark feminine energy exercises silence. It's okay to know. And then exercise your will. You don't have to express. You just have to know. And once you know, that's enough. That's enough. Okay? Well, I'm just going through the comments right quick. That's enough. Okay? Distance is absolutely necessary. Okay? And with distance, it allows you to see the people. So you have to understand that as well. It's not always necessary to create these two-way mirrors with people, right? Where you're immediate, especially for women, because with women, being beautiful creatures, being divine feminine energies, where we are connected intuitively to the Most High, you have to protect your energy. You have to protect yourself like you're sacred because you're sacred, even though this is what they don't like. In a patriarchal society, they don't say this enough. But you have to protect yourself like you're sacred. So there's a lot of things you shouldn't be saying. There's a lot of pieces of yourself that people should not be getting the opportunity to see. You should be okay with being mysterious to people, right? That should be okay with you, to be mysterious. It should be okay with you not to divulge everything about yourself. It should be okay with you not to let people know every single bit of what makes you you, right? You don't have to communicate every book you've read, every place you've been, your favorite foods, because a lot of times, y'all, spiritually and intellectually speaking, these are keys. You're giving people the keys to your identity, people that you don't know what their intentions are. Because people are not always honest about their intentions. So even if they tell you, oh, here's my intentions, you have to observe. You have to be still. You have to wait. Okay? You have to be still. You have to wait. You have to give people the opportunity to show you if they are whomever it is they are claiming themselves to be. If they want whatever it is they are claiming themselves to want in your life. You have to give people the chance. So be okay with being mysterious. Okay? If somebody is telling you, I don't really understand you. I don't really know what you're all about. Why they need to know all of that anyway, right? You have to be suspicious of people like that. They need to know every bit of you. They need to be so close up on your identity. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't need to be so close up on your identity. And it's perfectly okay to withhold, right? Because you're protecting yourself. You have to protect yourself spiritually, intellectually, mentally from people you don't know who they are. Okay? I'm just in the comments, y'all. And second guessing yourself, right? To second guess yourself, like if you try to move independently, but then you second guess yourself, a lot of times what really helps is you have to get into visualization. Ask yourself what the risks were had you not removed yourself from a situation. What were the risks? Would you have absolutely been okay if you had not have removed yourself from a situation? Would you have absolutely been all right? If the answer is you're like, I don't really know, then you shouldn't second guess yourself. Also, intuition is very important, right? Intuition is very important, especially for women. So you want to make sure that you are sticking to your intuition. You don't owe anybody anything. Stick to your intuition. Okay? You don't have to explain anything to anybody. You don't have to, when you left for a reason. When you moved on for a reason. You gave less to a person for a reason. Okay? So again, in dark feminine energy, there is also the know. You know what you know. And you believe what you know, right? You believe what you know. You're not out here trying to convince people that you are a liar. You're not doing any of that. You know they lied, so you exercise your free will in that moment. Oh, this person is lying. I don't want to be affiliated with a liar. So I'm going to remove myself from this dynamic. You don't need anybody to validate your decision. You don't need anybody to explain to you what happened. You don't need any of that. If you start recognizing bad behavior in a relationship, friendship, family, romance, you don't owe people an argument. Oh, that's such a big one. Dark feminine energy, remember, you remain in stillness. You remain exalted. You remain distant. You remain in observation. You're watching. You don't have to argue with anybody. What you can expect, though, that type of energy tends to pull emotions out of other people. Y'all, when we look at nature, okay? When we look at nature, you can kind of see what you should expect from certain situations. You can see how an exalted feminine energy affects the environment. You can literally see it. You can see it when the moon is up there, distant. There's a gravitational pull from the water, the tides, the oceans, right? We know that spiritually speaking, that represents the emotions, okay? That represents people's, whatever feminine energies they have, their intuitions, male or female, their intuitions, their emotions, their way of being, okay? You being distant, you being removed, you allowing everything to do what it wants to do, this pulls extreme emotional reactions out of people. This is why when feminine energies go home and don't really explain why, and we've talked about this, like I've even joked about it, but it's a very real thing. Women that can exist in solitary energy are very unnerving for people. Okay. That's because when you're by yourself and you're that lone feminine energy up in the sky, up in the mind, as in you have retreated into your own mind and you're not really communicating your thoughts to people. You're just in your own head and you went in the house. It really unnerves people because it pulls at them, right? See, women are not using their power the way they're supposed to use it, y'all. Okay? Thank you, Ricky. Women are not using their power the way that it's supposed to be used, but we were not taught. See, that light feminine energy, a lot of that comes from patriarchal religious practices that are going to say you should be running down, okay? You should be, figuring out how to please everybody. You should be in servant energy. I got to please. Oh my God. There's that energy, okay? That you have to please everybody. You have to please people. You have to be pleasing. If you're saying something that seems like it's off-putting to people, you have to immediately change what you're saying. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. There's that energy, right? There's no power for women in that. There's power for men in that, but there's no power for women in that. Women aren't going to benefit from that. Women aren't going to even be able to experience a world of a universe, even in their own mind, of their own power. See, women who run in that type of energy, actually you're being siphoned to the point of somebody that mentioned earlier about people being energy vampires. You're being siphoned. You've been trained to be siphoned. You've been trained to feed other people your energy. And when women do that, they have absolutely no power. Women's power comes from within. It does not come from the outside world, right? It does not come from within. Oh, girl, Mary, who said that? Uloma, girl, you be in here. I be seeing you. That energy, Mary energy, is very powerful. Okay, but that's a whole nother conversation. Okay, but you're being siphoned. You're inviting yourself to be siphoned. A woman's energy is within. It's in what she did not say. It's in what she knows. It's in her ability to watch, because in that she pulls everything towards her, right? This is why you see women that understand how to operate in that type of matriarchal spiritual energy. A lot of them become wealthy, or a lot of them become influencers, or they become famous, or they become successful authors, or they become successful professors or teachers, or they find some kind of success with their arts, with their crafts, what they do with if they're into spirituality, with their potions, with their elixirs, with their whatever it is. That's because they understand the gravitational pull of femininity. They aren't chasing anything. They are doing what they do. That's all they're doing. They're doing what they do. Whatever they feel they were put here to do, led here to do, arts, crafts, teaching, speaking, being a family woman in their own home, whatever that is. This is when you hear those simple entrepreneurial stories from women. Yeah, I was just volunteering at my kid's school, and I was making these cupcakes, and the kids liked them and their moms liked them, and everybody started ordering, and now all of a sudden I'm rich, right? These types of things are happening with women are not giving all of their magic away to other people. They are comfortable knowing. They are comfortable being a part of the forces of nature. That's where it is. Hey, Central Asia, how you doing? All right now. I love an international friend. Okay. That is where your power is going to come from. Your power is going to come from what you're not pushing to do. Oh, I got to let everybody know. I got to speak. I got to say this. No, you don't. No, you don't. But if I don't say anything, they're going to think something about me. Let them. Let the thoughts form around you. Because ultimately, let me tell you something. Allowing the environment to align itself around you, right? You're just, doing what you do. Allowing the environment to align itself around you, people are going to start to think all kinds of crazy things. But you want to allow those thought forms to manifest around you, right? And they're going to start talking, they start running their mouth, da, 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 this, that, this, that, this, that. That's energy. That's energy. It's fast moving. It's energy. That's what that is. That is energy. They're forming all types of energy around you. Look at actual celebrities. All these people are talking about them. Right? Tweeting and talking and texting and having opinions. A lot of the opinions are negative. I don't like her. I can't stand him. That's perfectly fine. What it generates is interest. Okay? This is energy that you can use, right? You have control of the minds of people that are sitting back monitoring what you do and trying to figure you out and talking about you and thinking about you and creating. Here you are just standing there minding your business. Okay. I think a great example of this is the Mona Lisa, the painting. Okay. The classic painting, the Mona Lisa. Over the years, there have been films made about the Mona Lisa, documentaries made about the Mona Lisa, people speculating on what they think the look on her face means, on what they think this is all about. Is it esoteric? Is it occult? What is it? Where is this coming from? What's going on with her? She's got such a mysterious look on her face, Exactly. And for that reason, that painting is still a point of conversation in college courses, okay, in videos, in artwork. It's still a high point in art history, the Mona Lisa. Has she explained anything to us yet? Do we know what the look on her face means? You know what I'm saying? There will never be she's a piece of art, right? She's a piece of art. She is a creation from the mind of someone else. So we will never get an explanation, okay? And even if the artist had given the explanation, it still wouldn't have really satisfied people, because the way that she's posted there, just standing in this stoic way, is affecting to people. It pulls on their emotions. It pulls on their imagination. And because of this, that piece of artwork has become an exalted piece of feminine architecture that affects people, and it has done so for hundreds of years. So you don't care, okay? You don't care if how you're standing there in your feminine energy, in your beauty, in your distance. You don't care that it's triggering for other people, right? They're only triggered because they desire to know your inner workings and your inner mystery. They think they're entitled to your energy because you're feminine, and people think women owe them energy. They just do. They think women owe them explanations. So when you don't give it to them, it's going to be, it's going to be a melee. That's going to be conversation. That's energy. That's power. That type of energy is what is applied to classic pieces of art. That's where feminine energy lies. It lies in what's not being said. It lies in what you didn't explain. It lies in the relationships that you cut off you didn't explain. Let me tell you something. Those people know what they did. 90% of the time when you move on from people, they kind of have an idea of why it was. Could have just been because you guys weren't equal. Sometimes you have to move away from people because y'all are not in the same level. Okay. And you just have to say like, nah, this ain't for me. Sometimes it's about ascension. You ascended, they didn't. It's time to move on. That's that time. Saturn energy is going to let you know when it's time to move on. Okay. There's been a shift. You're here. They're there. Move on. Okay. Go and do something different. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and read what y'all been talking about. Okay, you said, I am torn between half but mothering, half but running a business. I love what you said, but reduced energy, increased resentment, little financial progress, no life satisfaction. So again, we have to get into the mind, and we have to get into that dark feminine energy, that goddess energy. So you said, I am. So right there, you've declared yourself something. So that's a choice. You have control over that. Okay. You didn't have to declare yourself that. You declared yourself, I am torn between half mothering, half running a business. So you feel that you're not doing your best in those particular areas. Nobody can judge that but you. You don't feel you're doing enough in those areas, and you have declared yourself to be functioning below board in those areas. Reduced energy, increased resentment. Okay. You have to, when it comes to reduced energy for women, a lot of times reduced energy could have to do with your cycle, which is a totally natural thing. It could also have to do with your, depending on what phase of womanhood you're in, puberty, perimenopause, menopause, postpartum. There's a million reasons that women can deal and be functioning with reduced energy. That's very common. And that's something that women have to embrace, because functioning with reduced energy is part of what we deal with when we're going through different energy cycles. So reduced energy, increased resentment. Resentment is something that means that you're dealing with some kind of anger. That's usually where resentment comes from. If you're dealing with some type of anger, you need to channel that anger into something creative or something helpful to yourself. Divine rage, feminine rage, is very useful alchemically Find it, alchemize it, transmute it into something else. Transmute it into something else that you love to do, or maybe transmute it into writing something down about what you do want to manifest. Little financial progress. No life satisfaction. So you're saying that you're not functioning with any abundance. That's what little financial progress is. There's a lack of abundance. There's a lack of abundance. Abundance is a feminine energy. It's a flow energy. It's because you're not in your flow. Honor the fact that you have reduced energy. Okay. Use your anger or your resentment to create something for yourself. Okay. No life satisfaction. That's a choice. Trust the process. Okay. Be thankful for the process. Don't say, oh, well, I'm just not satisfied. Find the lesson in this and find the satisfaction. See, the universe truly is in your mind. Okay, it is. And this is coming from we know certain sacred texts or just life experience. This is the story you're telling. And I talk about this all the time, y'all. This is the story you're telling yourself about yourself. It's not necessarily true. It's the way you are experiencing yourself. Therefore, it is true. You spoke it. That makes it true. Okay. You can go into, like we're talking about dark energy. There's a million ways you can feel about yourself. And about your situation, right? You can tell yourself that you're in transition right now. You're transitioning. You're learning how to manage business and mothering. Okay. You're learning how to honor the feminine rest cycle. Okay. You're learning how to channel your divine rage. Okay. You're learning how to attract abundance to yourself. You attract abundance by getting in your flow, especially for women. You don't have to just feel like hustle, hustle, hustle all day. That's not necessarily what's going to bring you money. What's going to bring you money is being in your flow. Kairos time. Okay. Kairos time, that's feminine energy time. That's flow. That's more Venusian. That's not that hard Saturn energy. Whereas it's like military time. I got to do this. I got to get on it. Hustle, hustle, hustle. That's not necessarily the way that women attract money. It's the way that men get money. It's not necessarily the way women attract money. So, and to say no life satisfaction, you could tell yourself, I am currently in transition and I am learning lessons so that I can reach satisfaction. Okay. It's all about the way you're talking to yourself. Okay. Yeah. Subtext for sure. Okay. I'm just going through the comments right quick. Hold on. Y'all don't forget to like the live. If you are here, if you are new, please do subscribe. Hey, Monique. Okay. About the Mona Lisa. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, the Kabbalion for sure. Who said that? Yeah, Melody, the Kabbalion. Okay. Yeah, subliminals can be a blessing for a lot of people. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. Transmutation. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So it's always about what you're telling yourself. And in dark feminine energy, it's about owning yourself. You're not just sitting around. See, a lot of times too, women are looking for chores or duties or daily activities to give them an identity. Okay. To give them an identity. I have an identity because I'm a mother, because I'm, volunteering, because I'm chasing this man around, because there becomes a lot of, that's my identity. I get up every day. I'm chasing this man around, chasing these kids around, chasing this money around, chasing. Okay. There's a lot of that energy that happens. Okay. Listen, that's not your identity. That's stuff that you do. Your identity is within, and it does not change based on what you do. Right. This is how people can make sure you can make sure that people don't get control of you. They can't get control of you. You know who you are, and who you are is within. So who you are is not available to be tampered with by the outside world. You know what I'm talking about? Outsiders do try to tamper with your identity. They can't do that. You're not available for that. Okay. So again, back to what I was saying. So a lot of being exalted in feminine energy like that, that is the power that women have. Being able to draw energy naturally from the environment. Okay. From people. Being able to draw love and admiration from people. That's very feminine Venusian energy. Love and admiration should be drawn to you. What do you think when someone says, I know I look good? What's the first thing that comes to your mind about that person? I know I'm the best. They had to declare that. Okay, they had to let everybody know. I already know what I bring to the table. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? I know I'm beautiful. I know this. I know. Kind of feels like they're uncertain. Kind of feels like they need to draw energy from people. They're looking to draw energy from people, whether it's hate, whether it's agreement. They need to draw from people. You know, they're not sure of it. They have a hole in that area of who they are. They need somebody to fill it, right? They got to have an accent. It's part of it. Okay, they got to draw that energy, right? They need that. They need something to fill something up within them. And what do people do when people say things like that? They usually immediately start trying to knock the person down. You ain't all that. Da, da, da. That's because that's not high frequency behavior. Okay, it's not. It's not. Feminine energy, goddess energy, beauty draws love to itself. It can just sit. And people say, oh, think about art. I have to go once again to art. Art is so high in spiritual energy, y'all. It really is. It is a direct manifestation of human minds. Okay. And somebody put a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time to write something, to paint something, to draw something, to build something. People put so much of their time and human energy into pieces of art. Okay. This is a way they could be, in a sense, building a living manifestation, so to speak. People go to art galleries. The art is just there. It's just hanging there. And people say, oh my God. Now that's beautiful. That makes me think of my childhood. That is beautiful. How much do y'all want for that? I will put currency on that. How much do y'all want? Think of a really classic painting that spent years getting this energy from people, hundreds of years, perhaps, of people saying, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It touched me. I love that. That reminds me of, that makes me think of myself. Okay. Years of people, or people just trying to figure it out. I don't know if I like this painting. It just seems strange to me. I just don't. Years of energy, years of opinions, years of gazing. And it accrues, right? You got art that's actually an investment. Okay. People, it's an investment that increases their portfolio. Okay. Real art investment stuff. Okay. It costs more and more money. People look at it, they admire it, and then they offer large ticket. What do you want for it? $10,000. They go to auctions and compete with people for, oh my God, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. For something they think is beautiful, for something that pulls at their soul, for something they believe that when they're in proximity to it, it will raise their value, because people will look at it and say, oh my God, you could afford that painting? Oh my God, is that a Basquiat? Oh my goodness, is that a Warhol? Oh my God, where'd you get that? It shows people something about you. And it makes them feel something about it. Then it draws energy from the people who visit your home. That's what feminine energy is. That's what exalted goddess energy is. It's sitting. It's sitting pretty, okay? It's not asking anybody anything. It doesn't have to. And it only accrues, right? Because attention, that's currency, that's money. So it only accrues. People paying that attention, people looking at it like, my God, that's amazing. What is that? $50. Okay. People say, oh my goodness, she is so intelligent. I really admire your intelligence. $40. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, I want to be with you. I want you to be my girl. $200. Okay. I want to sleep with you. $1,000. Okay. You don't even have to grant any of these people's wishes if you don't want to. This is a crude energy that you can take in and hold, right? Holding all this currency, right? You're this, you're amazing, you're this, you're that. Attracting this admiration without doing a thing. You don't have to announce. That's giving money away. You don't have to announce. You don't have to tell people anything about your currency. They're going to pay you in that energy and time spent admiring. Think about people that run behind somebody for years. Oh my God, I've been so in love with them. I've been in love with them for 20 years. Oh, I've been so in love. I've been so in love with them. Years of them paying that mental currency. They looking at your pictures. They just paying, oh my God, I want some of that. They're paying. See, the moon, it pulls. You just taking it all in. You just take it all in. Take it all in. Take it all in. Okay? Pull it in. Pull it in. Pull it in. Take it in. Yes. Let's love me. Okay, you understand me? Be that Venusian energy. Expect love. You don't have to ask for love. Are you kidding me? Dark feminine energy sits. It sits. It stands. It's still. That's what being the main character is. It's sitting. It's perching. It's not making little announcements. I get money. You be like, I bet she broke. People are going to immediately start tearing at you. You're out here. Exalted feminine energy. What are you saying? What are we talking about? Why would you be saying anything? Okay. Say, announce. Why would you do that? What you choose to do with all of that energy that's being poured into you as a Venusian goddess, okay, as one that is just sitting, what you choose to do with all of that currency, right? Just like money, you go to work and they pay you a check, they pay you a check, they pay you a check, okay? Why is it dark? We went over that at the beginning. You actually could go back to this unpopular opinion and you would hear the whole breakdown that we did on dark versus light energy. So taking all of that in. Thank you so much, Unpopular. Taking all that, and that's a screen names, right? Can manifest certain energy around yourself. Just remember that. For anybody, I'm not saying to anybody in particular, just in general, right? Screen names. Y'all, and I need to talk about this. Y'all got to understand the level of manifestation that is available to us through social media. I mean, it's never been anything like it. Okay. That's when we're talking about the speed of light, how swiftly you can manifest something, how swiftly you can change your energy. Okay. Utilizing AI, utilizing social media. It's unreal. Okay. But back to what I was saying. Okay. So, y'all understanding, right, that you take all that energy in, the admiration, the adoration, the obsession, even the hate, you people hating on you, it's all energy. It's all energy. And what you choose to do with that energy, that's up to you. You govern yourself. You govern yourself. And energy that is given to you, you decide what to do with that energy. You have it. It's being paid to you. People just think about going to work. Like I said, they're giving you a check every week and you're saving your check. Say you got it in a savings account and it hits $11,000. You look over there one day, you're like, what? I'm at $11,200. That's crazy. You know what? I'm going to pull a treat for myself out of this savings account. Okay. I'm going to pull a treat out. How much of that money you spend and what you spend it on is totally up to you. It's yours. It's yours. It's being freely given to you. That's Venusian energy. That's feminine energy. Okay. Energy that just sits, that just accepts. That's where women's power is. Anytime women start going around, okay, coming down out the sky, okay, from that moon energy, baby, coming down out of their thought life, running around, chasing people and trying to figure things out, you've lost all your power. You will be siphoned. Okay, it's not a question. You will be siphoned. That's like a bleeding heart. You know what I'm saying? You're going to bleed. You're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. You are going to suffer. You are going to experience humiliation rituals. No, let me say that the right way, because anybody can experience that. You're going to suffer the consequences of humiliation rituals because you're going to receive everything, because you don't know that there's a level of detachment and distance that is needed for feminine energies to remain divine. You can't just go around being, okay, and showing up. And you can't do that as a woman and be in a spiritually safe environment. It's not, that's not, you're out of your power. There is a way that women are powerful, just like we talked about a moment ago with Goddess Melanie, when we talked about how there's an issue of, feeling like, time. I don't have time for this. A lot of it has to do, or I'm not showing up fully in certain areas, or, I'm not fully, invested in the business or invested in this. And I feel like I'm tired. A lot of this has to do with the way that we express ourselves, the way we look at ourselves, the way that we do things. Okay. The way that we see ourselves, however you see yourself is the way you're going to be seen. And if you're experiencing certain things, you're experiencing them because you're available to experience them. Just because something happened don't even mean you have to experience it. Okay. You can find a way. And it's all about being creative. Being creative doesn't just come down to, like sewing or something or painting. Being creative has to do with the way you govern your life. Your life is the greatest creative project you will ever have to manage. How do you create getting by? Detachment is protection from humiliation rituals. Can you say more? Okay, somebody said, Vigilant Spirit said, detachment is protection from humiliation rituals. Can you say more? I can't say more. The reason detachment is protection from humiliation rituals is because when you are detached, you don't experience them, right? Remember, everything is in your mind. So think about when somebody starts, this happens on like social media, but it can happen in life, whatever. They're going to start talking about you. They're going to try to tell all your personal business in a public space, right? What they want is to see you break. They want to see you cry, or they want to see you run, or they want to see you maybe quit a job, or they want to see you start shaking, or maybe they just want to see you lose your composure, start screaming, hollering, going off, cursing people out. They want to see that. If you are not available, right? If they don't have an energetic hook in you because you know who you are and all your power is coming from within, and you know who I don't care what y'all said. I don't care. There is no humiliation ritual. Humiliation rituals only really, really work if you believe in them. You have to believe in them. You have to say in your mind, oh my God, I've been humiliated. If you don't do that, then no humiliation took place. That person humiliated themselves. You have reversed that energy. You stood up in the middle of the cafeteria and started hollering out somebody's personal business. You are a bad person. You're going to humiliate yourself. I'm not available to be humiliated because I'm detached. I'm not invested in that little fit you just had. Right? And that's the truth, Goldie. You know I'm not lying. Unless you say that in your mind, you have to experience it as a victim, right? You have to be a victim in your mind. I've been a victim of an attack. Once you say that, then the humiliation ritual happened. It only happened if you say it happened, right? It only happens if you say, if you say in your mind, I've been humiliated, then you're humiliated. If you say in your mind, I really have control over her, that she's out here trying to humiliate me, then that's all that happened. You had control of somebody. They really let me get control of them. Now she's out here humiliating herself. Mm. That's all that happened. Somebody, it is what you say it is. Giving your power away is to be attached to the way someone else is treating you. You can't even help the way they're treating you. They could be crazy, just like a real cruel, evil, crazy person. And they're levying all of this mess at you. What can you do? What can you do? You don't want to, you definitely don't want to internalize that. Why are you internalizing their mess? That's their mess. Let them keep it. Let them have it. Absolutely. Humiliation rejected. It is what you say it is. It is what you say it is. Let people have it. Silence. That is dark goddess energy. What you didn't say. See, when you dark feminine energy, dark goddess energy transforms. It transforms things. It changes things. It reveals things. It reveals hidden things. It reveals the essence of things. It strips away the action and gets people to look at the actual roots, the actual foundation, right? That's dark feminine energy. So because of that, it's important a lot of times that you remain silent or remove yourself, because that usually reveals truth. When someone else is creating a problem or they're evil or they're jealous, remove yourself, because that's going to force the revelation. There they are, just standing there in the middle of the room, right? Hollering and acting crazy. They're crazy. And you left it there for everyone to see. Everybody walking like, why are you hollering at that lady like that? There's no reason for you to holler back. There's no reason for you to scream at anybody. There's no reason for that. You exercise your power through silence, through strategic removal, through observation. Watch the, oh, wow. Okay. And then you allow things to be revealed. Here's the truth about this person. This person is emotionally unhinged. They're loud. They're a little stupid. They're jealous hearted. They're envious. They're filthy inside, right? You don't have to get angry. You don't have to internalize any of that. People love to see contained women lose their composure. They want to see you go crazy, right? Because that means that they've put a hook in you. And now they're harnessing your energy. They're yanking you all around. They got you screaming and hollering and crying. Don't give them that. Don't give them that. Y'all want to know a real example of this? To me, okay? Y'all know I have to always say this before I discuss a celebrity. Y'all know I don't like discussing celebrities, but I'm gonna go on and say it. Okay? Have y'all watched how long Monique has been out in the public screaming and hollering that Oprah Winfrey is no good? Have y'all seen? It's been years. It's been years. And the more Oprah doesn't respond, the more vile the commentary gets. Now, regardless of who you agree with in the situation, that is a prime example of what true dark feminine, dark energy looks like. Oprah continues to simply exist. She does not respond. She is not offering a statement. She is not offering an apology. She is allowing us to see that whatever actions Oprah took however many years ago still have control of Monique's mind all these years later. All these years later, still she has not reclaimed control of herself. Still. She can still go to hollering and getting foaming about Oprah. Somebody that will never, ever respond to her. Because Oprah's going to continue to be Oprah. She's going to continue to have her money, right? She's going to continue to have Stedman and those dogs and Gail. Okay? She's going to continue to do that. She's going to continue to write her happiness books. She's going to continue to kiki with Keke Palmer. She's not going to stop anything. That's what that looks like, right? Should she? Oh my God, she's saying humiliating things about Oprah. Have you seen Oprah act humiliated? No. Oprah keeps her integrity and she continues to be Oprah. That's what that dark goddess energy looks like. And what is it exposed? Right? Well, like I said, regardless of who you agree with in the situation, it is exposed that one person continues to move forward in life and just doesn't dwell on whether or not they were right or wrong. And another person they will not move on. They feel they are owed something, they are entitled to something, and they will not let that go. So you've learned something about Monique. That's all. That's all. Doesn't matter, okay, who you agree with in that. We see who's being active and so invested and giving so much of their energy away, and we see who's just standing back. So now Oprah looks like the main character in some of Monique's story. She appears to be the main character, right? Monique just can't stop talking about Oprah. That's because Oprah will not respond. So Oprah is pulling more and more energy out of Monique because she won't give her any. She's not giving her any energy. She won't give her nothing. Not a response, not a phone call. She's giving nothing. So it continues. She continues to chase. She's chasing her. You have to say, she's getting louder and louder. She's never going to get nothing out of Oprah. Oprah's going to just keep showing up talking about Gayle. She's never going to get anything back from her. You're just going to keep seeing Oprah and Gayle on them little boats. Oprah going to have on them little kitten heels talking about, hi, how you doing? It's Oprah. Y'all know how she do. Never going to say anything. You get a car, she's just going to keep living the Oprah life. That's what dark goddess energy looks like. It looks like the F's you don't give, okay? It doesn't matter how somebody else feels about you. It doesn't matter. You're just doing what rich people do. It doesn't matter how people feel about you. It doesn't matter how loud they get with their dissatisfaction of you. It doesn't matter how emotional they are about what happened. It doesn't matter if they think you're a good or bad person. It doesn't matter if they think they're fighting for a noble cause, because I do believe Monique feels that she's fighting for a noble cause. And I can't say she's not. You know, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But what I can say is Oprah ain't finna get in it with her. She doesn't care about all of that. She's allowing Monique to own her emotions, right? She's not taking those emotions on. And that's what we often see in light feminine energy, is the desire to help, the desire to solve problems, the desire to be the support, the desire to be the answer, the desire to be the savior. Okay? Dark feminine energy is not doing any of that. There is no action. There is no, somebody has a problem with you, let them keep it. Let them own it. Right? Dark feminine energy is when somebody comes to you and says, you know what? Why don't you work in a different industry? I just don't see nursing for you. Why don't you work in a different industry? Like, I don't like this. I don't like that for you. And then you accept what they said and move on with your life or move on with that conversation. You're not going to alter anything. Let them own that. The fact that they're sitting around figuring out ways to critique your life. Let them have that. Gag them, okay? Gag them. Oh, you decided to keep telling me how you don't approve of my occupation and you feel like I should be hanging it and you feel like I'm going to stop talking to you. There's not going to be an argument, right? An argument, let me tell you, an argument, a lot of free space in her head. An argument is a gift, right? You have to put that type of value on yourself. Assess yourself. What are your verbal abilities, right? We're gonna get into this because women, you got to learn how to put value on every single part of yourself. What are your abilities, right? Your verbal abilities. Okay. Are you really, you speak really passionately? Do you speak clearly, girl? Do you have a sizely vocabulary, perhaps? Are you very an emotionally charged person? Like when you talk, people be like, yeah, that fired me up. That motivated me. Does that happen when you speak to people? Do you have a very sexy, soothing, feminine voice? Like, what does your voice give, right? Decide what your voice gives. What does your voice give, right? What does your energy give? Like, when you get mad, is it really like, it's really giving energy when you get upset? Right? When you get upset, do the kids think like, oh my God, mama's upset? Is it really an event? Put value on your verbal. I'm serious. This is an assignment, okay? Think about your verbal abilities. Okay? When you speak, do you really give it up? Are you funny? Put some value on this. Now, right? Like me, myself, I'm a passionate person. I have a nice vocabulary, right? People listen to what I say, right? I've been this way all my life. I was like a kid that hosted assemblies in school. And, there's nothing new, right? I'm doing what I've always done. Even with coming to y'all to this channel, this is what I was always selected to speak for vocabulary, for spelling, right? I had the highest score one year for comprehension, okay? Me and this one other boy, I ain't gonna say his name on here, but he know who he is. We was killing it, you know what I'm saying? That's what I do, right? I'm telling you this for a reason, okay? Because I want you to think about this. With that being said, maybe some of y'all are real good at math, okay? I'm not, but I want you to think about that. You're real good at math. You're real good with reasoning, right? You may reason things out really, really well. You just have a really good, clear mathematical mind. You have a mind that computes law and order like nobody's business. Your mind is very succinct, very rational. You're very smart. I want you to think about all of that, okay? Okay, you say you're a great storyteller, right? So you can engage people with a story. You can draw people in. You have a lot of presence, right? Now, when somebody is upset at you or offended by you, you get upset. You argue. You're like, da 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 da. You shouldn't have said, and I don't know, da da da. And sometimes we think that those qualities that I just mentioned are all the more reason why you should be arguing, because you're a heavy hitter as a communicator, right? I got this great mathematical mind, not me, but some of y'all. I have this great mathematical mind. And I'm about to slice this person up. Okay, I'm about to reason. I'm going to let them know how they gaslit me and all that. Let me tell you something. When you are very talented at something, you're good at it, your communication, you're a good speller, good speaker, you got a good vocabulary, all these different things. Girl, I didn't say I had no speaking engagements. Girl, I said coming along, okay? Oh, no, you talking to somebody else? Girl, I don't know what y'all talking about. I done got lost. When you're really good at these things, ask yourself, put a price on your verbal abilities, right? Say my verbal ability is worth $1,000. That's just a random price. You can put whatever price on your stuff you want to. And some fool is trying to start an argument with you. Why would you give them $1,000? Really quantify. Say it's $800 for my vocabulary, right? $700 for the spelling. $1,500 for the humor. You start calculating. I ain't finna pay you that. It is a privilege to argue with me. That's how you're supposed to. You gotta put value. Baby, it's a privilege. Argue with you. Why would I bless you with that? I'm good at this. Who are you? Are you gonna pay me to argue with you? Thumb wars. If you're a good writer, you finna get down in that text. That text finna be epic. Why would you give them that? Who are they? Who are they? You got this great rational mind, okay? Where you're speaking so well and you're putting things together so well. Why are you going to waste all of your brilliant scientific reasoning on this person? Who are they? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Getting in goddess energy. It's a lot of things you flat out shouldn't even be doing. Explain yourself to them for what? Why does the goddess explain? Can you imagine that? The goddess gonna get down off the mountaintop Come down all those stone stairs. Walk all the way through paradise. Girl, get her robe. Come all the way out to the streets. Down to the groves. Down to the hood. To be talking about, let me tell you why I changed my hair. I'm telling you nothing. I ain't telling you nothing. Why would I do that? Okay? Who are you? Who are you? Thank you for reminding me. Don't forget to like the live, y'all. Don't forget to like the live. Who are you? Most of them can't even explain that. People that are trying to act entitled to draw goddess energy out of you. Who are you that I should give you this energy? Who are you? Y'all gonna be sitting there looking at each other saying, or they just gonna say some I'm yo, I don't care who you are. You don't have the right. Because I said so. Because all that matters is what you say. You don't need anybody to tell you whether or not somebody has the right to interrogate you, or you don't. Because I said so. That's it. That's all. Okay. The end. The end. Okay. Who are you exactly? Okay. So that's dark goddess energy, y'all. It is the energy that stands and simply exists. Dark energy is before the word. Remember, let there be light was spoken into the dark. The dark was already there. It just existed. Somebody had to come in. God had to come in into this darkness and create something. Okay. Now, on the other side, we have to also understand this from the God perspective, right? This is an understanding to help you understand what you are capable of as a creator. To go within all of that energy within yourself and speak light. To go within all of that energy within yourself and speak light is to manifest, to tell yourself what you expect to happen, okay? To tell the environment what you expect to happen, okay? That's what you do. Social media, things like that are excellent for manifesting, okay? Because what they allow you to do is to be witnessed in the form, the thought form that you're speaking, you can actually make into material reality and have people witness it, which charges it, which allows you to manifest it faster, right? If you want to be seen, right? You're like, was that Melanie? Is she still in here? Yeah, she's still in here. You want to manifest abundance, okay? Then you need to start showing up as an abundant person. I don't know what abundant means to you. It can mean happiness. It can mean love. It can mean money. Okay. But you need to start showing up. Let's say it's money, just for the sake of example. You need to start showing up like that so that people will have to witness you as that. See, you want to become your own living altar in a sense. Okay. And allow people to witness that. You want to be wealthy. Show up like you. And I don't know if that's exactly what you wanted, but show up like you're wealthy. Stand on social media as if you're healthy, as if you're wealthy. Okay. And let people witness you. Post like you're wealthy, because that's your writing. Those are your thoughts leaving your mind and being spoken into the physical reality. Okay. And they will have to manifest. They will begin to manifest. People are going to witness you as what it is you say you are. So it's like creating a living egregore of yourself. Okay. If I butchered that word, y'all, I'm sorry, because I'll be butchering it. But that which you are charging to create your reality. Don't sleep on that. Like, as far as social media being a major tool of manifestation. It's a major tool of manifestation because you get to be witnessed as you see yourself in your mind. And that's what you should use it for. Starts in the mind. Speak it. It's going to be witnessed. And from there, okay, from there, hold on. And from there, you're going to start to manifest from that point. Okay, hold on. So listen, on day 3 of creation, right? Y'all have to also learn to utilize that portion in Genesis, right? Days 1 through 7. Those are the steps, okay? Day 3, the spoken word penetrates the dense dark below of the earth and forces it to crystallize into physical form and grow organic life. So understanding, you spoke it, you witnessed it, you showed up as it, right? So you forced it into the material reality so it can begin to grow. People begin to witness it. People start to see it. People will start addressing you as though you are that. Right? Think of celebrities. I don't like to talk about celebrities. I just got to say that. But think about celebrities. You got celebrities, people meet them and say, oh my God, they're nothing like I thought they were going to be, da, 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 da. Right. But they've manifested themselves as this larger than life character based on the way that they are showing up in the world, based on the publicity and all the things that are circling them, that are around them, that they're showing up in the world as this person. They're so intriguing. They're so interesting. We don't know if that's really true or not. We know that they've placed themselves out there like that. And because we believe it, it is so. Because we witness it, it is so. Right? Because we witness it, it's so. We say it's so. That's why a lot of celebrities' careers can end, because they do something wrong and the public decides I don't believe that anymore. You're not a good person. Poof, just like that, it's been removed from physical reality. Okay, your celebrity days are done, babe. Now you're infamous. Okay, you've gone from famous, because the way we perceive you and see you in our minds as a collective is who you're believed to be. That's the identity that's going to be placed onto you. Okay, that's just that on that. So hold on, y'all. So you got to be using these tools to manifest. Okay. You got to be using, you can definitely use from dark energy, and then from yourself. When you place yourself in dark goddess energy and you are still and you are allowing yourself, everybody's just around you. You figure out how you want to move around me. I'm not trying to show you anything. You figure it out. Okay. I'm not trying to convince, I'm not trying to sell myself. You should love me. You should like me. You should want to be my friend. No, you guys should invite me to the birthday party. Why am I always the sibling that's getting overlooked? And don't try to figure any of that out. Just observe what people are on and move on. Okay. So we know then next, day 4, separate light from darkness. Okay. So now that the thing has gone out into the earth and manifested itself, now you can start making moves with it. You can start organizing it. You could start, it's something now. It can be used. It can be played with. You can start playing with how people see you. You can start playing with how people experience you. You can start controlling this energy that you've placed out there. Okay. You can now start controlling that energy. Okay. Day 5. I'm gonna have to go more into this, y'all. I studied this, but it was years ago. Okay. So, right. Day 5 comes into water and air. Now we have emotions. Okay. We have emotions and we have communication. Okay. So now this thing can feel. Okay. It's got out there. Now it can feel. Okay. And I'm just going through this really briefly, but it's gotten out there. Now it can feel, it can exist. It has a feeling. It has a way that it sounds. Your identity, your new identity, right? With manifesting identity. Identity is everything. You can't draw the things to yourself that you want if you have not first shifted your identity. The person that you are may not get the things that that person can get. The person you are today may not attract that. You have to shift to attract that. Shift your identity, okay? In order to attract that. Okay. Okay. And so now we move into day 6. So we see that now that this thing is being communicated, it has a feeling, it's existing, it's walking around, it has an aura, it has an atmosphere. Now this is when you can become it. Now we see this is when God makes man in his image. You've created this. You've made this. You've created, it's fully created. You can become it. Day 7. And I'm going to have to really read this, y'all. I'm just blowing through it right now. I may even still have some old notes on this. And from there, okay, it is created. And things can return to void energy. The void, that is dark energy, right? The void. Dark energy. So again, starting with your identity a lot of times. And 2, for shifting from light to dark femininity. Do it like that. Start showing up. If you start showing up on social media as a more refined version of yourself, as a more boundaried version of yourself. Say stronger things, okay? Carry yourself differently. Show up as the person that you feel you are in your mind. That's the beginning of manifesting something, because with social media and the internet and all that, this thing is broadcasting, you know, if you want to call it broadcasting, it's out here. It's in the air. It's in the water. Okay. Ain't AI using all the water or something like that? It said, this is going out into all this different directions. There's millions of people on it. It's constantly emitting energy. Okay. It's very much alive. It's a consciousness unto itself. You know, they don't want to say that. But a lot of these AIs and stuff like that, they're taking all this energy in. They're practically a consciousness, a synthetic consciousness unto themselves. Use that to your advantage to manifest the things you want to manifest, to be witnessed as the person that you want to be witnessed as. Okay, to write things, to bring towards you, to get people to come in agreement with who you are, right? They're seeing you, you're out here looking wealthy, feeling wealthy. People gonna like that. Hey girl, you looking good. They're coming into agreement. That's why I'm always careful of the stuff I like, because that's coming into agreement. All these thumbs up, that's coming into agreement with that. Like, I might not want to be in agreement with that. People might say certain things. I'd be like, you know what, let me unlike that, because I don't want to line myself up with that frequency. Okay, this is a very powerful space that we're in, and you can truly use it to get the reality that you want. Okay, to start at think of it as the void unto itself, baby. We don't really even know what this is. We just know that this internet, baby, it's making all types of things. It's making stars. It's making money. People are having fights over it. Everything can be manifested through this medium that we've been given, and take control of it and use it to your advantage. It's a tool. It's a brilliant tool of manifestation when used magically. Okay. It's a brilliant tool of manifestation. Okay. You can use it for all types of things. You can use it to accelerate your consciousness. You can learn things really quickly. You can experience other cultures. You can learn all types of spirituality. You can open different esoteric or occult doors. You can open spiritual doors, religious doors. You can do all types of things with this. And I think that a lot of people are taking it for granted or are not paying it enough attention. And for that reason, for the magical reasons and the magical pieces that it brings, people are not paying it enough attention, y'all. People are not looking at how insane of a tool, magical tool, has literally just been thrown out there in the middle of the street for humanity. Yes, ma'am. Okay. It's for humanity. to be done in many, many different ways. Okay. You can utilize AI as a serious manifestation tool because you can talk to it. Create a story about yourself, girl. Okay. Create a story about yourself and start to build the story. And eventually you will become the story. Okay. That's why I love that children's movie. Y'all remember that? The never ending story. Y'all remember that? Look around. Tell me what you see. Y'all remember that? That used to be one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I used to have my aunt go rent it over and over and over again, y'all. But as I became an adult, I learned the magical message that was present. Y'all remember, what was the boy name? Bastian. Okay. He was getting bullied at school, baby. His life was hell. Okay. His life was hell. And he was being bullied. Girl, don't be calling that luck dragon no dog. We were supposed to believe that was a dragon, girl. Oh, no, you talking about the dog. Girl, it was a wolf that was out there with the nothing. Okay. And if you remember, the nothing was eating up everything. That dark matter was eating up their whole planet. Girl, it got deep with the never ending story. They put a lot of really deep esoteric messages in children's films. Y'all know the Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, because the nonsensical quality of those movies allows them to hide. Mary Poppins allows them to hide really deep esoteric knowledge. Yeah, girl, don't be talking about, what was his name? Falcor like that. Don't be calling him no dog. He was a luck dragon, okay? They just didn't have the technology that we have today. He just looked a little rough around the edges. But girl, that was a luck dragon. What you talking about? The Never Ending Story. Get out of here. Is it free on Tubi? The Never Ending Story, y'all. If y'all recall, Bastian, his life was a mess. And he was hiding, what he hiding in the janitor's closet or something at school reading a book. Now, y'all remember Atreyu was a warrior. Okay. Atreyu was the baddest man in the land. Okay. And he was, fighting these wars and standing up for himself. And you remember in the end, we saw that Atreyu, if I'm not mistaken, was really just a manifestation of who Bastian could become. And Bastian found himself through the story. Okay. Mythopoetics. Okay. Mythology can change your life. Writing a personal myth about yourself, creating a personal myth about yourself is one of the most magical practices on earth. Okay. That's available to us. Okay. And he ultimately manifested a braver, stronger version of himself through Atreyu, through the story. He became, first of all, didn't he rename the Empress of Fantasia? Girl, I don't remember. It's been a long time. But he became extremely important. Okay. Extremely important. I'm going to have to check The Great Gatsby out. Extremely important. Okay. And he found his strength. He found his voice through that story. Magical storytelling. You can use AI for that. Okay. You can use AI for that to tell yourself a story, because eventually the story of who you wish you were, how you wish things would be, you wish you were this, you wish you were that. That's a manifestation tool, because eventually your mind is manifesting this. This is your thoughts, and you're putting them out into a material form, and you're communicating back and forth, back and forth. You're building a universe, whether you believe it or not, or it feels like it or not. You're building a universe. And after a while, your mind is going to start to recognize that universe, and it's going to start to manifest the type of thoughts that create the identity of that person, because you're going to start to realize that if your mind can create this person, it doesn't make sense that you're not living that person. So the two come together like Bastian and Atreyu did, for those that actually did see the Never Ending Story. Okay. Those two will come together, and that's how you manifest. Okay. The mind can create. Who was that? Was that Golden? You said you're a great storyteller. Any story you're telling, storytelling is very powerful. And if you can create that in your mind, if for people that want to use storytelling for magical purposes, if you can create that in your mind, after a while, your mind is going to start to question you like, what do you mean this is who you wish you were? You're creating this person. Are you not this person? And AI is a great tool to create that mirroring effect of you put it out in your mind and it's given right back to you. You put it out in your mind, it's given right back to you. That back and forth synergy is going to create another environment, okay? It's going to create another environment for you with ease. And again, this still comes back to dark energy because the imagination creates everything. That's why I always say, the intersection of imagination, influence, and power. That I always have that written on everything, any of my pages or, whatever. That intersection, that's where creation happens. And the imagination, that is dark energy. Okay? That's where you're going to go in, you're going to create it, you're going to arrange it. That's where all of that comes in at. That's where all of that comes in at. The imagination. Okay? And I'm telling y'all, social media, AI, these are solitary. This is solitary creation. Too many times women think that they have to go out and get involved with other people to manifest the person that they want to be. It's going to come from being involved in a certain friend circle or being in a certain social club, or you're going to get your money from, you chase down just the right job, or you chase down just the right marriage. No, a lot of it simply comes from the mind, okay? And understanding how to best utilize your own creative energy. It's not teamwork. Okay, it's not teamwork when you're trying to manifest, when you are manifesting your reality. That's not a teamwork thing. That's not external. That's not everybody out there, look, y'all, I'm trying to manifest. Everybody out there. That's not that. That's not that kind of thing. Okay, manifestation is something that starts here that you have to bring out into the open. Okay, you have to make it real. You have to make it so. And you have to make it so. It's not made so because somebody else, you know what I mean? You make it so. And those people's attention or witnessing it, that's how you grow it. But you make it so. Okay, that's why narcissistic gaslighting is so demonic to me. Because, we know it's demonic. But it's so demonic because it attempts to hijack somebody's personal narrative or to tell them that their primary instrument of manifestation is broken, right? You don't know what you see. You don't know. That is so demonic. That is so low and dirty, okay? When someone tries to take your tool of creation, and this is done to women the most. Somebody tries to take your tool of creation and turn it into something that's creating for them. Okay. People like that can't create. That's the problem. They can't create anything. That's why they're trying to hijack the feminine consciousness. They can't create. They can't birth anything. They're just out here trying to see who they can use. That's what narcissists do. That's what they're all about. See, they don't have an internal energy, right? There's nothing going on with them. There's nothing. They can't create from the dark matter. They can't create from their imagination. They can't create anything, right? That's not an option. So what their whole purpose is to get you to create reality for them. That's what it's all about. Can they get you to create reality for them, right? So if they play a head game with you that causes you to chase them, then you have created for them a reality that suggests that they're high value and worthy of chasing. You have created a reality for them with your actions and who you are and your abandoning of your internal compass. You have now created a world for them. Okay. You created it. If they are lying to you, of course they are, right? You know how narcissists are. If they are lying to you and you believe it, then you've created for them a reality where their lies are real. They are whatever lie they're telling. You know, I'm powerful, I'm this and I'm that, and da da da. They are so only because you believe it. Again, the magic works both ways. And when these demonic karmic beings use that magic against you, don't let anybody hijack your mind and your ability to create. And that's what that is. Anytime somebody tries to play with story with you, they start trying to create a story about who you are. They start trying to get you to play into the story they have about who they are. Story is so powerful. Never let anybody play with story with you. People start just telling you who you are. See, you the type of person that, we're not going to play those games. Or, and I've experienced this one. One of the ways people try to do that, they'll start trying to talk to you as though something is true about you that's not true. I remember I had somebody I used to know. They would always do stuff like, I could say, I ran into somebody I grew up with at the store, and they're really doing good. You know, they were really excited to see me. They invited me to their daughter's baby shower. And his response might be, I keep telling you people love you. You're a love person. I keep trying to convince you. Who said I wasn't loved? What you talking about? What does that mean? Stuff like, I'm really pulling for you. I really want to see you get there. You're really close. I'm more accomplished than you are. What do you mean? So you see, with these statements that pretend to be encouraging, there's a story being created here. There's a story. There's a narrative that's being created where this person who actually had not accomplished anything I'd accomplished, had not done more than me, was creating a hierarchy where they were some type of authority figure that was, supposed to be auditing I've never agreed to any of this. I've never signed up to any of this. That's why that friendship just abruptly, I didn't even announce nothing. I just stopped answering the phone. But that's why that type of thing happens. That's an attempt of narrative hijacking, because who he is in relationship to a broken version of me feels better to him. You see what I'm saying? If I'm like, I'm trying to convince you that people love you. If I'm like broken down and need love, then that makes him an encourager. I ain't never said I was in any of those. What? But that makes him an encourager, If he's rooting for me and I'm so close, that makes him capable of coaching someone that he's not even as accomplished as. See? Narrative. Gotta watch them narratives. Because if somebody can suck you into a particular narrative, if they can get you just slide into that narrative, it happens to women all the time. You have women apologizing for things they didn't even do. We're talking about that type of energy, right? Things they didn't even do. Things they did not even do. They can get sucked into that type of energy. Somebody's created a story. People that do stuff like, oh, my dad was never there for me, and then you didn't even call back. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing for that? See, people, narrative. Now you're another person that abandoned them. Don't sign on for that. No, they playing with you, sucking you into some story. People will do it in a heartbeat. Now they have you caught up in the narrative that you're just see, now next time they do something disrespectful or uncool, you may take it, right? Because you don't want to be another person that left them like their dad. These are the types of things, these are the type of narratives people will spin around you to create an environment where they are benefiting from you. Okay? This is the type of stuff they do. This is the type of stuff they do. Narrative is usually the foundation of all of it. Narrative. Some kind of story. Some kind of story. They got a story going. Storyline. That's all people need. They can control you forever if you don't recognize storyline, okay? And you don't know how to recapture the story. Let nobody rewrite your story, okay? That's a curse. Somebody trying to curse you. They start coming in. Your life been fine. Everything's great. You're happy all the time. And somebody's sitting in your face like, why you be so unhappy all the time? They need you to be unhappy to make their story come true because they can't create anything, okay? They can't create anything. So they need you to have a problem, right? I'm a savior. No, I'm not. I'm a loser. Why are you always complaining? You seem sad. Now they're a savior. By proximity to the lie they just placed on you, they're a savior now. Why you always looking sad? You're like, what? I ain't looking sad. Yes, you be looking sad. That's why I came over here. Because I'm like, bruh, something is hurting you. What? You know, people will do stuff like that. Always protect your narrative. Always protect your narrative because they show coming. They are show coming. As sure as the sun sets in the east or wherever it sets at. Girl, they show coming for your narrative. That's the beginning of the demonic takeover of the destinies. Everything begins with, man, you seem like, you seem like the type of woman that need a man. Who told you that? You seem like you unhappy in your marriage. What? People just come up with some stuff. Man, you must be lonely, huh? What you mean? People would just come up with something. They need you to be that so they can be who they imagine themselves to be. It's so creepy. It's so creepy. It's so creepy. So narrative, y'all. Always protect your narrative. And a great way to protect your narrative, we're going to go back where? Dark energy, right? When you're exalted, when you're silent, when you're distant, your narrative is protected, period, right? You don't even get enough access to me to know where I'm really coming from, okay? You don't know what I need. Anything you say, I'm not even going to respond to that. Hang up the phone. They start that mess, get off the phone or even call them back. Because you got to understand, people have personal problems and they'll try to say that you're the cause of them so they can get control of you. Okay, they have personal problems. When you stay in that dark feminine energy, there's no room for that. There's no option for that. There's no option for them to get a hold of you. There's no option. They just wishing, I just feel like you seem like you unhappy. You are experiencing spiritual unrest. You're experiencing unhappiness. You're experiencing them demons and you need somewhere to go. They need something to do. So you're looking for a place to land. Maybe you can possess me with them. Now I'm, oh, you're right. I am unhappy. Something that will allow you to have somewhere to plug all of that misery into. They have a problem. They have a problem. They claim they noticing your problem. No, they're not. They have a problem. A serious one. Okay? A serious one. It's a mess. Now, all of a sudden, you need to have a problem. Like I said earlier with the Oprah Monique situation. Monique has a problem. Oprah don't have no problem. And Oprah refuses to get one. She's just like, I don't know, that lady crazy. I'm not getting in that with her. Okay, anybody got any questions? Okay, because y'all, I just been going on. Anybody got any questions? Okay. Yeah, definitely arrested development for sure. And that's where it becomes warlock or negative energy in that way is when people try to hijack your narrative. Do not ever let nobody. That's like somebody you sitting in your car driving your own spiritual vessel and somebody like they just going to push you out the way and start driving for you. That's what narrative theft is. No. No. Who I was when I got here is who I'm going to be when I leave. You're not going to talk me into like, I must be somebody else now. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm still me. I'm still me. I came in happy and at peace. You're not going to convince me that I'm experiencing deep, you in need. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong with me at all. Yeah, I know y'all been doing a lot of chatting in them comments, okay? They'll try to do it to you. No, you're not. You need help. You need me. You need me in your life. Okay? Any questions, y'all? Any questions? People will do that in a hot second. Girl, your mother is 83 and she's behaving like a 13-year-old. It's so difficult to communicate and get through her abusive behavior. Yeah, it's tough when it's mothers because, that's an emotional cord that is just undeniably there. But what I would say is you just stop trying to figure that out. Okay, she's having a problem. She's got some stuff going on. And it's tough, it can be harder to disconnect from parents and family, but you can't, you have to let her own that problem, right? Whatever behaviors, you have to let her own that problem. That's not your problem. She's having a problem, as you just pointed out, and it's making it difficult for you to communicate with her. So you should limit how often you communicate with her, or else her problem is going to keep infecting you. And at 83, she's doing what she's gonna do. She's not about to become anybody else. Okay, that's it. It can feel lonely having to cut everybody off, but at the same time, you will have your peace and you will start to attract the right people. You have to signal to the environment, first of all, that you have the strength to cut people off. Okay, if you continue, or anybody that, like, if you're considering continuing to kind of hang on to people because you don't want to be lonely, then you're letting the universe know you're okay with that treatment. Whatever treatment that's coming towards you, you're okay with it. You cool with it. You won't cut it loose. Okay, you won't let it go. So it must be okay. So you're going to receive more and more of it, right? Your path is not even going to completely carve itself out because you have to be alone to find your path. You have to be alone. Your own energy is what's going to illuminate your path. So having people around that ain't really right, that's just keeping you from where you need to go. I want to ask how one can trust one's life path or how to get to it. How one can trust one's life path? What do you mean? Reword that, ask it again. How do you handle this with religious people? Handle what with religious people? Yes, a lot of immature elders out there. What do you mean with religious people? Y'all, give me that again. Please shed light on handling, controlling my own narrative versus navigating a targeted smear campaign. Don't navigate it. Don't navigate it. It only exists if you say it exists. If there's somewhere that you can no longer show up because of a smear campaign, stop showing up there. Move on. Create your own life. Those people are dumb. People sitting up listening to smear campaigns. If that's not who you are and that's not who you are, remove them from your mind. They don't exist. That's a figment of your imagination, that smear campaign. That's how you have to treat it. Kick it out. The universe exists in your mind. What would happen if you had one of those little sticks like in Men in Black where you flashed the little stick and memories disappeared? You wouldn't even know that happened. You wouldn't even remember those people. And you would just go on merrily with your life, making new friends, creating new memories. That's what you do. Don't navigate it. Let them say anything they want to. They're crazy. They're insane. Let them say anything they want to say. If it's something going on, like the law needs to get involved or something like that, then you may need to, like if somebody's harassing, then you may need to involve the law or something like that. But other than that, Who cares? You don't have to navigate a smear campaign. They're the ones doing the smearing. They have a problem going around bothering people. They have a problem. Throw it away. Take it out your mind. Just think of it. Literally visualize that. Take that out of your mind, ball it up in a ball, and throw it away. It's useless anyway. It's just a lot of garbage. And it'll just, see, things are there a lot of times to distract you from manifesting what you're actually here to manifest. So it's just a distraction. You obviously have something that you're supposed to be doing, and now this distraction has gotten in. Don't let that distract you. Just get back on your path. Girl, you know, I never know when I'm gonna do the next live. I just pop out. You know how I do. I just pop out. Where attention goes, energy flows. Absolutely. Handle the narrative writing with religious people. The Jezebel spirit being the one creating disunity. Oh, so do you mean, how do you handle the narrative writing with, like, they throw these types of things on you, like, oh, you're a Jezebel, oh, you're this, you mean that? Like, how do you handle that when they throw these titles and terms on you, like those religious terms? Yeah, girl, they crazy. They're insane. How to find your personal life path as a woman who has decided to walk with the dark feminine energy. How to find your personal life path as a woman who has decided to walk with the dark feminine energy. You can't really find it. You just have to, you just keep walking. You keep showing up to life every day. If there, books are always a great start. Maybe some books, like choose some books. But when it comes to finding your life path, you're kind of following the red bouncing ball. You don't have to chase. Once again, right back to what we talked about with dark versus light feminine energy. You're not chasing your life path. Life, when you're speaking spiritually and energetically, it's going to always be giving you clues and cues to where you're, to follow, where you're supposed to go. So just keep your mind clear and pay attention to the cues, conversations that come past you. Sometimes synchronicity, hearing the same information more than once from different places. It's like, oh, I just saw it in a commercial and it's crazy. I just saw it I heard it in a song and now somebody's talking to me about it. Pay attention to the synchronicities and follow that energy, follow that light, follow that spirit, that spiritual guidance. You don't have to find it. It usually, in a sense, finds you. You just have to be listening. You have to be paying attention, like, to the spiritual elements of it. All right, y'all, I'm looking through the questions. I moved to a city only to have to cut off all the elders. They're jealous of my shine and sit back to enjoy me struggle with the kids. Yeah, that happens a lot. People love to see women suffering. They really do. They think a woman's place is suffering. Okay. I'm still going through them, y'all. Oh, well, I'm glad, Melanie. Yeah, people do hate free women. That's why I talk about it all the time. I always talk about that because it's so real. Okay, it is. You ain't lying. I have so many mean, manipulative Christians in my extended family, and they stay coming for me because I walk as a sovereign woman. How do I deal with their narratives? Own them. Own them. Disempower them. Own them. Jezebel. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yep. See, because anyway, if you think about Jezebel, she was really just doing her big one. Okay. She had a man, she was running him. Okay. And she was choosing to stick with matriarchal religious practice, matriarchal spiritual practices, like Asherah and Baal and all of these different gods and goddesses. Right. And that was her choice to walk that path. And as a free woman, she was ultimately, they didn't want her out there, right? Because she was influencing the environment, she was controlling people, and ultimately she was eaten by dogs, which, this is what they want for free women, right? This is what they did to Jezebel. Delilah, like I say all the time, Delilah was a hustler, okay? And Samson wanted some so bad that he just kept letting her get down on him like that, okay? So with that being said, we just decided who Jezebel and Delilah were, right? We're gonna use our own clarity to decide who these people are, okay? Who these women are. So when they want to accuse you of that, so what? See, they're trying to curse you and aggravate you with these titles and that you're a this and you're a that. Again, it's not the names that they're really coming at you with. It's the energy. It's the accusation. It's the painting you with a scarlet letter because you don't choose the same religious practices as them, right? People have been putting scarlet letters on women since the witch hunts and beyond, right? That's what they do to women that go their own way. They're going to throw paint on you. That's just the way it is. And you're going to be marked and you're going to be branded and whatever. Okay? They're going to label you. Listen, you can go all the way back to scholars like spiritual scholars like Marguerite Perret, who was Christian. Okay, this is a book. There's a book by Marguerite Perret that you can read. I can't even remember, some very old, like hundreds of year old book. This woman was labeled a heretic because she had her own spiritual beliefs. Okay, the men, I think they hanged her or something like that. That's what they do to women who have their own free spiritual beliefs. So once you come on this path, you're going to be dragged by Abrahamic religious communities. Period. That's the way that's that on that. When it comes to that, own it. If you own it, then what we talking about? You this, you that. You don't, that's the energy that they're hurling at you, is that you're a this. So what? Don't give that energy any power. Only you can give it power. You don't have to argue with them. You don't even have to respond. Exalt yourself out of that situation, right? Mentally. Exalt yourself out of it. You're above that. So if they want to stand down there and talk crazy like that, let them. That's on them. You're a Jezebel. Okay. What's going to happen? Even if you are, what's going to happen? You still going to go to work and make your money. You're still going to make a sandwich later. What's going to happen? You ain't this, you ain't that. What about feminine men? So what? So what if they think that? That's their fault. Yeah, it's a curse. Plain and simple. Own it. Own it. Now it's not a curse no more. Yes, Jezebel all day. Yes. Move on with your life. Okay. Somebody said, well, I know somebody asked me something. That just is what it is on that. How do you protect your inner child around haters? You have to stop talking to haters, okay? You have to just stop talking to them. You have to really be very, very brutal and vigilant in cutting haters off, girl. Okay, they just remove their access to you. And if you can't remove their access to you, because that's the number one thing, just limit how much you say to them. Let them hate on you. Hate, you have to change the way you look at haters. Haters are just fans. They're just fans who don't know how to express their being fans because they're still paying you attention. And if you really hate something, you don't pay it. I mean, who cares? You would be indifferent. So these are people that are very passionate about you that just don't understand how to express it, right? They're elevating you to some type of an idol, okay? That's their choice to do that. They're elevating you by sitting up talking about you and paying you energy, paying you attention. What are you doing and why you got that on? And, whatever they got going on. You just best to just ignore them. If nobody is doing anything aggressive to you, like getting up in your face or, getting in your face, talking, whatever, you don't have to defend yourself or anything. You can just allow them to exist. Like they're hating on you. If it's not like something where you need to involve like HR or the law or something like that, protect your inner child by not subjecting your inner child to what they're doing. Okay. Don't subject yourself to that, and have your own private, like spiritual practices, peace, taking time to find peace, spend time by yourself, different things like that, don't take care of your inner child yourself, and don't expect cruel adults outside to parent your inner child in any way. They don't care. They're going to be careless with you. So you have to protect your inner child. Keep your distance. Don't deal with these people. And if you need to involve the law or something like that, then do that. But if it's nothing like that, they do believe suffering is righteous. They absolutely believe that a suffering woman is a righteous woman. Okay, that is patriarchal religion all day. Okay. Oh, good, Tiffany. How to avoid feminine men. Feminine how? Like behaving in a feminine way, or like men that want women to be their providers type of feminine? Okay. Yeah, I'm rereading comments too, right? People watch me like a hawk, always trying to enmesh them. So your people love the enmeshment, don't they? They love the enmeshment. People are addicted to codependency. And I feel like that too has a lot to do with patriarchal religion, because it facilitates codependency from the very beginning, y'all. When Adam was out there and this woman was born from his rib, codependency. Woman is but an extension of his thoughts. Codependency right there from the gate. Now we had the serpent, like I told y'all, that came in from outside with her own consciousness and her own situation. They didn't want nothing to do with her. They cursed her to eat the dust and all that. In fact, that video was actually posted today, okay, that talks about the way the serpent was cursed to eat dust for her autonomy. Y'all, they hate a free woman, okay? Codependency is the anchor of that Adam-Eve relationship. Codependency. What you do, I do. Savior complex, right? Codependency. You're not functioning on your own, and whatever mistakes you made, someone will have to save you from them. Some man, because it's still a male energy, male deity. Codependency. Still codependency. What? See, girl, no, that's low down. My ex put seafood juice and some food to test. Girl, that's somebody that tried to unalive you. Never speak to them again. Okay, I'm going through. What about someone trying to destroy your reputation or support system? That's abuse. Get away from them. Never speak to them again. Never acknowledge them again. Erase them. You can detonate someone's energy with your mind. Never acknowledge them again. That's why silence is so powerful. Think about silence, right? Think about, people talk about rejection from parents. Some of the most traumatic experiences people have is being given the silent treatment by a parent. That's totally devastating. It's devastating because silence is dark energy. It's very aggressive. And it's something that people have to exist within, is your silence. And your absence becomes an energy that people have to exist within. That's why a lot of times people will be like, you let them feel your absence. Yes, it's absolutely going to be a feeling because it's a container. See, okay, y'all. Things, in order to manifest something, there has to be a container, right? A container being, back to the live we did last week, women must create to be created. You have to create a container. So what's a container like? If you say you want to be beautiful, you need to start showing up every day beautiful. And after 30 days, as people say, right, that's become a part of your internal, ritual, and it's become something that people associate with you. You show up every day, you're so beautiful. There's been a container created. There's something now that you need to put something into. You feel empty. You didn't show up, adorned and your thing that you love to do. Once it becomes a habit, when it's not done, you experience the emptiness of it because that container's been created energetically. Same thing with this, okay? Let them feel your absence. People feel absence because a container's been created. That's why when relationships end, excuse me, y'all. That's what heartbreak energy is. The container's been created and now you're experiencing the loss. Because it's like, oh my God, I expect to be with so-and-so at this point. I expect them to call me, you know. So you let them feel your absence. They know what they're cruel people know that they're being cruel to you. So just disappear. And they'll know. They'll know why. You don't have to tell them. They know what they was trying to do. Okay? Yeah, don't let them parrot your inner child, girl. They know what they was trying to do. Just let them, you know, let them experience. Okay, hold on. I'm reading the questions. Okay. Hold on. Now, what was it? What was it now we was talking about? Feminine men who aren't that masculine always have a problem with independent women. Yeah. Actually, because they want to be one. That's absolutely what it is. Dark empath. I don't have any videos on that. But feminine men, don't date them. I mean, unless you're looking to be in a situation that could potentially become competitive or become something where you're governing someone, don't date them. Don't date them. Just leave them right where they're at. Let them go discover themselves. Let them go find themselves, okay? Because if a man is feminine in his essence, he expects to receive, right? And unless you plan to be constantly giving him energy, giving him time, giving him money, giving him attention, givey, he's going to drain you. He expects to get. He's going to whine. He wants this. And when you don't give it to him, he's going to get an attitude and he's going to pout. And that type of energy, unless you want to be his mother and you're just comfortable endlessly giving with pretty much no return and being punished whenever you don't give what he expected, it's a waste of time. It's just going to leave you feeling abused, abandoned, and battered. It's no point in it. Do you have any videos on dark empaths or how to identify a dark empath? Now, the dark empath thing is very interesting because it can go both ways. You can use dark empathy to be a really formidable opponent for that type of person, right? And that's just by sensing what they are and not telling them that you know what they are, right? Someone said something to me like that years ago, right? You know, when I was like not new on the path, but I was just questioning. I'm like, oh, these people are doing this to me. They're doing that. They're being manipulative. And somebody said to me, you know, those tools are available to you to use as well. And I was like, bruh, okay. So first off is understanding that you're not really a victim to that type of energy, right? If you wanted to use it, you can use it. Okay. It just depends on what you're into and what you're all about. But in defense, like I'm that person. If you need to use those tools to defend yourself against negative energy, because one must be able to defend themselves. I'm just saying. Now, the best thing to do is leave that person alone. But if you're just in a mood for a game, you understand what I'm saying? You could always use those things. Those tools are available both ways. Number one. Number two, how do you spot a dark empath? It usually comes down to, I feel like those typical signs. of, you know, they ask a lot of questions. Okay. People that are trying to get to know a lot about you, especially when you try to keep yourself, like I said, you're distant. You keep a strategic distance from people to protect yourself. You don't really know them yet. Somebody that's a dark empath is not going to really let you do that. They need more information on you. They need to know more about you. Okay. I need to know more about you. I need to know more. So tell me this, tell me that, because they're trying to get a bead on your soul. So people that like press, they ask too many questions. Somebody that's really like so nice, love bombing you, charming you right out the gates. And then really being very like going hard about it. Somebody that weaponizes any sensitive information you've told them. You could tell somebody some false sensitive information if you need to and see what they do with it. They'll ask you, how did your last relationship end? And then, oh, it was bad. It was heartbreak. And then 2 weeks later, I see why you got your heart broken. No, because that's how you are. They'll use stuff like that. They'll use things like, you really beware of men who do this. People that will use a woman's cycle against her, right? You probably mean that, it's probably your time of the month. You just cranky. You just little stuff like planting little seeds, like you're unstable, You're so unstable. Someone that thinks they know something about your attachment style and they try to use it against you. Like they'll try to, a dark empath is somebody that's trying to use everything they pick up against you. That to me is the sign. That's what I call that. They have the empathy, they have the emotional intelligence, but they're using it against you. They're using it against you because everything they find out about you, they're going to try to weaponize it. There you go. They're going to try to weaponize absolutely everything they know about you. Absolutely everything. If you ever said I just had bad cramps. I was just in a bad mood. Every time they do something to you, they're going to try to weaponize that. Well, I just figured you was in one of them moods. That's why I didn't call you. You know how you act when you get cramped. They're just going to try to use everything against you. Oh, you're spoiled. You're spoiled and the family always spoils you. Oh, I've always been spoiled. My grandmother didn't love me. You just spoiled. You expect me to do things for you that I'm not going to. You just spoiled. They're going to use everything. Everything. No stone will be left unturned. Another thing they'll try to utilize and weaponize against you is absence. These guys that just disappear inexplicably. They just gone. For 7 days, 7 whole days, they just gone. Not a word from you. Okay. That's a tool. And Tony wrote a song about it. That was the wrong thing. Tony was out here clowning. Okay. You don't write no song about that. They do things like that. Extended absences, anything that they think will hurt you or bother you. Okay. That's what they're doing. Think about the things you mentioned to them. Something else they'll use against you? Text messages. Dark empath will study your text messages. If you've ever really disclosed information in a text message, they're going to study those text messages. I hate men that do this and that. You put that in a text message, they're going to figure out, they feel like they got the recipe on you. You hate when they're not around. You put that, I hate when you're not around. I hate when you don't call. Oh, you better believe they're going to stop calling and coming around soon because they want to bleed you. They want that energy. They want you to be anybody that keeps trying to cause you emotional unrest. They want you to be upset. They want confusion. They want you to feel unstable, narrative hijacking, constantly bringing some hurt your feelings. They keep bringing it up. I remember that time that lady at the store said you had on ugly shoes. Why are we talking about that? What lady? What you talking about? Oh, you must didn't hear her. They gonna bring up something. Man, you should have seen the way all them chicks was looking at you in that dress. I don't think that looked right. Just trying to create that. They're trying to manipulate your emotions all the time because emotional output for them is currency. It's food. That's how they survive. Right? It's literally how they live. Okay? Hold on. Okay, yeah. If you feel like he's draining you of emotional currency, he's a dark empath, and he's just weaponizing your very existence. Anything he learns about you, he's going to weaponize. Okay? Desperate for control, desperate to control you. Yeah, yeah, weaponize everything, absolutely. Yeah, they're not gonna be accountable. You must be on your cycle. You sound like you thinking clearly. You must be on your cycle. Ah. Yeah, ghosting, all the little old cowardly mess. People be wanting to leave with a bang. What's the difference between a narcissist and a dark empath? I think that dark empathy is a trait that narcissists have. That's how I look at that. It's a personality trait that they have. One of the reasons they're successful as narcissists is because they have dark empathy. They're high in dark empathy. Okay. Yeah, girl, they spend all day trying to take the divine down. It's what they do. Playing little games, absence and mind control. And it's all about the hook. They want to know they have an emotional hook in you. What are ways to protect yourself from spiritual and psychological attacks in the future? Spiritual attacks, man, you just have to be vigilant. You have to be, whatever your practices are, petitions, prayer, candles. You have to always be spiritually attuned, spiritually aligned, keeping yourself spiritually alert. Psychological attacks, try your best, not just don't engage them, don't participate in them. So yeah, people want to know they have a hook in you, and that really helped me. That visual, that's what dark empaths and them are looking for, right? Think of a hook like a fisherman's hook, right? These types of energies thrive on having a hook in someone. That's their whole thing. Do I have a hook in you? That's how they thrive. So they get that hook in you, right? That's what they're looking for. And they figure it out by psychologically testing you, right? This is like I said, somebody just comes up missing for 7 days. This guy told me one time, this is years ago, he was seeing this lady, and he deliberately went missing on the lady a night that they were supposed to go out, right? A lady that he had wound up into this really deep situation. And for her, it seemed like it was really serious, right? So his dad tells him, and these are very grown people, y'all, okay? In their 40s. These people was older than me at the time this was going on. And he tells her that they're going to go on this date. Now, at this point, he's woven this lady up into this idea, like they're going to be in a very serious relationship, okay? He disappears on this night, right? After having really, for months, him and this lady been on a study, trajectory. And then poof, pow, right? He just goes missing. His father told me to do this. Test her, see how she acts, so you'll know if she really loves you. The lady wows out, okay? It's a professional, composed woman, okay? She wows out. She shows up at his house, beating on the door, crying, "You're not going to do this to me, and I want answers." And that tells him, a narcissistic so-and-so like himself, that he has a hook in her, energetically speaking. He can command her language. He can command her motion. If he didn't show up, he pulls back and she runs forward, falls all over herself, screaming and crying in the streets. He has a hook in her. Let nobody get no hooks in you. You'll know when they're trying to get a hook in you because they always yank the cord with stuff like that. Oh, things were going great between us and suddenly they're missing. Trying to see if they got you. Just like when people throw a fish hook out there and I think I caught something, it's the same thing. They have to see if they have a hook in you. So they're going to tell on themselves at some point. If they're not righteous, they're ugly energy like that. They're going to tell on themselves at some point. Don't forget to like the live, y'all. They're going to tell on themselves at some point, okay? They cast that reel and start They want to see what you're going to do. Don't do anything. Again, dark goddess energy. Do nothing. Let that person reveal to themselves what a desperate, goofy little loser they are. Let them reveal to themselves that they need your energy. You don't need theirs. Let them sit there and say, you mean she really not going to call me back? If you go, you go. Dark goddess energy. If you go, you go. I know she going to call after this. Nah, I'm straight. I don't care. If you call back, if you don't, if you die. Right? Someone who has not proven themselves worthy of you, why should you care anyway? I don't care. I'm having an emergency. They call back with an emergency. I need help. I don't care if you need help. Detach. Just have to detach from it. Period. Okay, I'm going through the questions, y'all. Okay. Oh, thank you, Tiffany. Oh, yeah, they hate a boundary and an expectation. They hate that. Okay. Yeah, detach at that what golden girl, was that you, girl? Now you know that's it. I got two goldens. This the other golden. I know it's a couple of them. Detach at detach at the least expected moment. Because that's how they do. That's how they do. At the worst possible moment, just disappear. Do what a lot of them do. They set up the disappearance. They set up a grand disappearance like, oh yeah, on your birthday, we're going to go do this, this, and that. And that's the day they did. They set up a phenomenal disappearance, right? Do it like that. Set them up for the disappearance. I'm going to come to your mama house and profess my love to you. Go get your hair done that day, okay? They love it when you act a fool over them. They love it. It's all they got in the world. Oh my gosh, she acted crazy over me. Oh, hey, golden goddess. Oh, yes. The golden child. That's my girl that I be talking to all the time. But I knew I had seen two of y'all. Okay. Any more questions, y'all? Yeah, ghost them on your ghost them. Yes, that's good. That's good. Yes. Excellent. Yes, give them the Agatha Christie. Give them the Agatha Christie. Yes. Come on, Agatha. I know that's right. Hit them with the he, okay? Hit them with the how. Hit them with the he. Okay. Better get out the way. Nobody got time for that. Listen, they will try to put their hooks in you. Okay. Bringing us back, because I love a good visual, y'all. Spiritually, visually, you have to be able to see a lot of this stuff so you can walk the path properly, okay? Listen, think about, let's go back to dark energy, where we started, where the conversation started, right? Think about it that way. Someone's trying to put their hooks in you energetically. If they put their hooks into the universe, right? The dark universal current, what would happen? That hook would just go out there and go on infinitely. It would never land on anything. That's the experience. That's the experience that you need to be given. Okay. What about protection? That's the experience that you need to be given. Okay. Yeah, you have to leave them friends behind sometimes. They weren't friends. Some people are only your friends as long as you're in a certain position. Right? They may have been your friends while you were in college, but they hate you when you graduate. You know what I'm saying? They were your friends when you were looking for a job, and when you made manager, they don't want to be your friend no more. Okay. They were your friend when both of y'all was suffering in bad relationships, but they hate you when you have the good man and the good marriage. They only want to be your friend during a low period. They can't be your friend when you go up. When you go up, you have to get friends that have a different social class and standing. Okay, they have a different um, social way of being. They don't look at friends as a way to survive. Some people are just looking at friendships to survive. So if they're miserable, they just want somebody to be miserable with. You got to go up. You got to go to people that are actually able to be friends from a let's grow together perspective versus the friends that really like, let's just be friends and be dead together. Like, who wants to do that? That sucks. That really sucks. Princess died. That was just awful. That was just awful. It was so many setups for her because, you know, they didn't want her there in the first place because they didn't consider her to be a noble woman. Okay. And she just ended up and you saw them do it to Meghan Markle. You know, that's where they do it. Where can I get high vibe friends? Don't look for them. Just walk around with a high vibe, and eventually you'll have a high vibe life. Don't chase, attract. You know, be the gravitational pull. You'll be surprised when people see you out smiling and stuff. They say, like, man, I remember this was so many years ago, y'all. Okay, I was out in the club. Okay, this is a long time ago. And I remember this guy, and I ended up dealing with this guy for many, many years. But this is a random example, but he saw me. He was just like, oh my God, like you know, you smiling and da 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 da. You know, I love it. Like, you seem confident. Can I be your friend? Like, that's how he approached me. And he was actually the same way. He was like a real confident, like, yeah, a lot of personality. We used to have fun together, you know, for the little bit of time, you know, the years, but the little bit of time. Girl, because I could care less about that man now. He tried to look me back up too. 12 years later, this man's talking about, what's up? I don't know what's going on in your life, but do not reach out to me. But it was like attracted like. Like, he was like that too. Like, he liked to talk and be social. Like attracts like. Just go out there and be yourself. And you'll attract people like you. How do you know when you're really ready to graduate from preparing to rule to taking your throne? One, to avoid another false start and setback. And I've been in isolation. How do you know when you're really ready to graduate from preparing to rule to taking your throne? You know, a lot of this stuff takes you. It really does. It really does. Like, oh, the throne will take you. You will find yourself on a throne. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to ask questions like that. You just have to keep like living your life and manner. You know, obviously what you just told me is that you are preparing to rule and you wish to take a throne. So if you know it, that means the universe knows it. Things find you a lot of times. They really do. Like, I can think about things that I remember a friend that I was in college with told me this story, and I've never forgotten it because it truly speaks to what you're saying. But he was the sweetest guy too. I hope he's doing well. But he was sharing with me a story that really was life changing for me. Okay, which is that he was in college. He was doing really well. Okay, and he had lost his mom out of the blue. And I won't repeat, it was really unfortunate circumstances. And he had a nervous breakdown, right? Under the circumstances, it was too much the way everything happened. And so he didn't even have his mom to support him through this nervous breakdown. So he had a relative step in for him, okay, and support him. So he had to leave school. He was committed for a short period of time, and then he had to come out and convalesce with this relative and get to know the relative, take medicine, get himself back on his feet. Now, his goal when he started college was to graduate with a business degree, get his own place, get it was a BMW or a Benz, I forget which one, and to be well dressed every day. He's really into his clothes, okay? He went to college. This awful thing happens. He has a setback that took him out of school for a year or so. Then he has to get back on the horse, get back in college. He's now living with that relative. She turned out to be a very supportive woman, okay? And she's helping him, holding him steady. He graduates college. He gets a job, but not the job that he wants. And he's just going through the everyday of it. He works a job, 2-3 years, gradually going along, trying to keep his self together, trying to help. He had lots of younger siblings that were left behind with his mom being gone. So supporting them. And he stayed on the job a few years, buying a piece of clothes here, a piece of clothes there. Got transferred to a better version of that same job, but in a better location, buying little clothes here, little clothes there. He's doing well, right? He was doing well. He gets in a master's program. And as a gift, the relative helps him get a car. And he said one day he realized after all of this that he had graduated college. He had a Benz or BMW, whichever one it was. And he had a closet full of clothes. And he had a job. It formed around him. Even through all of the circumstances, really, really rough circumstances, that thing that he had visualized and wanted formed around him. Even with him kind of in a stupor and in a tough internal space because of what he had suffered, still his desire formed around him. What he had imagined formed around him. Okay. So sometimes stuff like that, we're looking for it. You actually don't have to look for that. We think we have to look for it. You don't have to look for that. We think like, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be saying? I have to figure this out. I have to figure that out. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know what you've expressed to yourself. You know what you're imagining for yourself. So that means it took forms. Thoughts are forms, thought forms. There's a thought form walking around out there that knows what you want to happen. So don't get into looking for it. It's alive. It's out there. It's moving around. It will find you. That's usually how these things happen. Even myself, like when he told me that, I was in college, right? And I was depressed. I'm like, oh, things are happening so slowly. And I can even remember a professor telling me something that helped me. This professor I admire so much, African-American statistics, statistics, but mathematics professor. And I was just like, I just thought he was all that, and I was like, oh, I just hope I'm like you one day. Like you're out here, you're being a professional. He was like, you'll absolutely be like me one day because yesterday I was just like you. Okay. So everything has its trajectory. Like these things you want, you have to walk the path to, and then you become them. You don't necessarily like, how do I know when I'm ready? It doesn't work like that. You just become. That's the natural way of things. You just become. One day you look up and say, wait a minute. I've done this. I've done that. I've been here. But oh my God. I'm it. That's how it works. It doesn't, you don't know you're ready. You actually never know you're ready. You probably just look up one day and you've become that. You look around and like, yo, that's usually the way it happens. Things that are on your mind, they're alive. You have manifested them. They're out there. They will find you. Okay. They will find you. Okay. You often say that the environment will let you know when you are not welcome, but I feel like I get hostility after a while in any place I try to be involved. So you're probably a higher frequency person than the places you're in. Stop going in them places. I've experienced that. Eventually they're jealous. Okay. That's the truth. That's what's really going on. You have to find people that's at your same level. Yeah, girl, in the club. Girl, that club. What if you have a friend that has a lot of male rage and tries to protect the girl, get away from her. Don't be calling nobody like that. Your friend, get away from that monster. Girl, stuff be easy a lot of times. Cut people off. Male rage, girl, let him have that. Because he's going to project it off on you. They always projecting off on women because you are but an extension of him, according to the way they think. They be in these codependent situations. And men expect women to regulate their emotions. Okay, make me feel better. Wear this rage for me. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Girl, people be crazy. They be thinking women's supposed to help them. They be thinking that. Girl, trying to holler at you and stuff like that. Like, oh, listen, a lot of times Like if somebody's trying to talk to you and you know like you're out of their league, they want you to let them know, to signal to them by accepting their invitation that they are at a level to get them a you. That's what they want. That's what they want. They want you to let them know that they're on your level. Okay? Like that's your job, to let him know that he's not the bum so-and-so that he obviously is. You're supposed to be like, oh yeah, hey, little broke down. Sure, you can have my number. And that's letting him know, because he got bad self-esteem. That's why he little broke down. You supposed to let little broke down know, no, I see something in you. And then he can dog you out to really not only prove to himself that he's good enough to get you, he's good enough to drop you. Now he's going to walk away with all your energy and leave you drained and feeling foolish. Okay? He's going to take everything from you. The dog, girl, your dog even going to be depressed when he didn't drain everything in the house, the goldfish, all of this, because he needs to feel like he can do it. You know, that's how you see all this crazy stuff. Yo Gotti dumping Angela Simmons and all. That's how you see all that. Shouldn't have never been over there in the first place. But once he get over there, he need to let himself know. Not only can he bag that, he can throw it in the garbage. Oh, child, it's a mess out here. Yeah, girl, she did talk to him again, and it was a disaster. How to deal with a disrespectful older sister if you can't avoid her. You know, that's an interesting one. I think what happens with that a lot of times is that these elders, you know, they're older than you. What happens is something happens spiritually, mentally, physically, academically, financially, or professionally, where you become the authority figure in their eyes. And I think a lot of times these older siblings take it out on you by trying to reject you and make things difficult for you. You know, they'll use anything because they no longer feel superior, but they think they're supposed to because they're older. So they start doing, like they start taking things out on you and stuff like that. Stuff like that, you know, you just have to, maybe if you can limit the communication. I don't mean like not just limit how much you like. Don't let her know too much about you if you can, because they take advantage of that. They take pot shots and stuff like that. They're struggling with whatever position you're in, you know, spiritually or professionally, financially, like I said. And they're trying to keep that authority, and it just gets vicious. Maybe you could be prettier, you know, something where they feel threatened. That's bad when that happens. It really is. Y'all, I'm still reading, okay? Yeah, you look up and it's like, oh, wow. You know, I've manifested this. Oh, well, thank you, Femi Goddess. Okay. Yep, everything always works out for me. Absolutely. Manifest that. Okay. Now, y'all done start talking about a retreat. Lord have mercy. Look, I missed some comments, obviously. Okay. Now, I have a friend that works in the wellness space that does a lot of retreats and stuff like that in Atlanta. I don't know. I have to ask her what she think about all that. I'm inspired to jumpstart my business to make her. My goodness, y'all didn't win. I done fell behind some comments. Okay. Yeah, I see y'all. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, cute Mallory. Okay, we're in here. Okay. Oh my goodness, y'all talking about headlining retreats. But yes, ma'am. So y'all, any more questions while I'm talking? But yes, that's the club. I ain't been in a club in so long. And you know, that's why I fell out with somebody, right? Somebody's like, well, you used to be in the club. This is what he says to me. I mean, what happened? You know, you didn't change. You used to be in the club. You used to be doing this. You used to be doing that. And I had to let him know I also used to be 26. So I don't understand why we're talking about this. You're talking to me about 26. Do you have a problem? Like you have to ask people like, what's wrong with you? Why is it confusing to you that I'm not today who I was that long ago? Okay, that's very odd to me. That made me feel like you got something wrong with you. Okay, you're not progressing, which is perfectly fine. But don't try to put that off on me. Yeah, that club, it gets old because you know what? You know what's gonna happen in there. You know what's gonna happen in there. I mean, you've been there, you know, like you meet somebody, this and that, and then da 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 da. You know what's gonna happen. So it's like, what am I in here for? What am I in here for? For what? And then the players start to get younger, right? You know how that happens. You see the old dude in the club. So now he got to go to the older people club. And you go in the older people club, everybody looks like an alcoholic by that point. Because if you move up to the 50 plus club and the 60 plus club and all that, you've been drunk in the club since you was 21. Okay, and you aged out of that little 21 to 38 club. Then you aged out of the little 38 to 48 stepping club. Now you done aged on up to where we just sitting here drunken on our third marriage club. Okay, and y'all in here with your little blues music and stuff playing, looking tore up from the floor up. Still out here trying to catch you somebody casual to live with for a little while. Because they always looking for somebody to live with for a little while. Okay. And then they go in there with that, trying to live with somebody for a while, for a few minutes. Yeah, the older people clubs. Mm-hmm. It's always that. Girl, it's one. And this is like more of the tavern set, girl. They still sitting up in there drunk, them 50-some-year-old men. Still in there drunk, girl. Wife been gone, second wife gone. And they still in there drunk. Y'all, does anybody have any more questions? Oh, well, thank you so much. I call you. Okay, come on now. Angelic energies. Yes, thank you. Once you see, you can't unsee. You know you right, Prep. Girl, yeah, them old man clubs, girl, they be up in there still trying it. Still trying it. Talking about, yeah. So, girl, my mama had a friend that was in her late 50s, still hanging in the club. She was in that club. She was in the 50 plus club, girl. But don't you know, one night she got up in a fight in there with the waitress. Let y'all know how long ago this was. That song was out, Where My Girls At? From the front to back, when you feeling that? Okay. And remember, she be like, hey, don't you violate me. You decide to mess with my. Okay. Right up in there. Girl, the lady was up there telling us how that's why she got in the fight. Somebody was trying to mess with her little old man. Okay. The little ex-sheriff girl. And she got up in there and got to swinging with somebody. Talking about Where My Girls At was on. And they was talking about, mess with mine. I just lost it. I said, see. Now, at that time, I was like 23. Might have been 21. Okay. I said, It's a time that you're supposed to leave the club. It's a time that you're supposed to leave the club. Because I'm not finna be up in there, girl, windmilling with arthritis at 58 and stuff like that. And she was a mother. I said, I know you lying. My mom would just listen to her. My mama, that type of person. You can tell her, she just be like, you tell her anything. Oh, yeah, you was in there fighting, huh? Mm-hmm. I be done. I was done. Like, what? Mother was like, But what did the other lady do? Like, my mother just be so cool on it. Like, the lady, she, well, you got to be careful. Yeah, she just said a whole lot of nothing. But I was outdone. I say, I know you lying. I looked at a lot of that. Like when I was younger, ladies that my mother or my grandmother would just kind of observe. Because that's what they do. They just be like, I be listening. They was out there bad. Even then, it was. I was just seeing stuff that put me in the mindset like, oh, I don't want to be out here like that. People out here 40-some crying over 20-year-old men. Girl, I saw some stuff. I said, I ain't finna be out here like that. Dropping it like it's hot at 60. You ain't lying. If you're afraid, you're afraid to step into that calling, it's usually, see, everything has its path, right? So you have to be on its path. There's a lot of 50-year-old men, girl, they be wearing all that jewelry, them big old caps and the sunglasses. Girl, everything has a path, okay? Everything has a path. And along that path is learning. So you may already be on the path. You people say, oh, I'm not ready, but you may already be on the path. You see what I'm saying? The path could start with the books you're reading. The path could start with suddenly a whole lot of people are no longer in your life. That's usually a real sign of some kind of ascension. A lot of times it's a lot of people gone from your life. Just boom. A lot of people are just gone. You think like, all of a sudden I fell out with my friends. Ascension. You're being called into something. Everybody's just gone. And you think like, what happened? And it's not one issue. It'll be like, well, this person moved away, or that person and me fell out. This person got married. This person died. Like, it'll just be random. And all of a sudden everybody is gone. Okay. And it gets nuts. Like, but those are signs that, you're being called on the path. Sometimes being on the path is the call. You're going to eventually get somewhere, but you have to be on your path. Like, things start with a path. The path could be, a certain job or a certain lesson or the end of a relationship or the beginning of a relationship or discovering spirituality, finding your spiritual path, things like that. That's right, Tiffany. Being on a certain spiritual path could be somebody may be in their spirituality. They're just starting to read certain spiritual books or use certain spiritual tools. Yeah, girl, that phone gets dry when that ascension happens. You be like, is my phone, let me check with the phone company. Like, is my phone still on or what's going on? It does get like that. You be like, hello. Girl, yeah, that phone dries out. That phone dries out and dries up, okay? It really does. It really does. Yes, okay? Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. So, again, dark energy, okay? Dark feminine energy is about the stillness. It's about allowing things to come to you. It's about just being who you are and allowing whatever is going to come to you to come. Money, admiration, jobs, love, abundance, wealth, happiness. Is just about showing up in the world as you are, right? Not chasing anything, not chasing anybody, not chasing money. You shouldn't be chasing anything at all, okay? Imagine if money was out in the streets, desperate, crying, chasing people. It would diminish money in your mind. You would be like, money ain't what it used to be. Is money out here begging? Oh my God, you would never see money the same. So to keep your value to money, okay, keep your head up. Don't be out here begging, borrowing for money, okay? Don't do that. Don't be out here begging for money, thinking that, I just got to get this money. Do what you do, okay? Do what you do. Show up to the window and develop yourself and show up to the world as yourself. Develop yourself. Read books, study, talk to people, be happy. All of these different energies that are positive, embrace them. Music, good conversations, content, movies. Just take in good things. Take in goodness. Take in kindness, do something kind for someone else, like live at a high vibration and just ignore all the rest of that stuff, right? Cast your burdens. Very true statement in scripture. Cast your burdens, girl, onto onto the creator, onto God. Why are you walking around with burdens and things like that? Okay. Cast anything that's troubling put that off you and just stand. Okay. Just stand and just walk. Stay in your walk. Stay in your mission, stay in your glory. and watch things come to you. You're going to start, and you have to remember, y'all, the universe, okay, dark energy, all of that, we're talking endless possibility. I'm talking endless, right? As endless as the galaxies. Endless, 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 endless. Your imagination, endless opportunities. Endless possibilities, okay? So to say something like, well, when will I get where I'm going? You have to understand that's limited thinking. There's all types of possibilities. Anything can happen. Any amazing thing you can think of can happen. If you go out in the world every day and think like that, it could be some amazing thing that could happen for you that you've never thought about because you never heard of it. Okay? You never heard of it. I never in my life, I wasn't raised with no tarot cards or nothing like that, or spirituality, or I wasn't raised with anything like that. I didn't know anything about that type of thing. I was raised in Christian church. But to let you know how much a path is in terms of studying and discovering spirituality, my mom had an Islamic friend, childhood friend of hers. My mother was Christian, but she had a good girlfriend that was Islamic, that we actually just lost. Very sweet woman. And she had some tarot cards in her room, right? That were a gift. Okay. A gift from someone that she didn't use. They were still in the packaging. And I remember peeking through them when she wasn't in the room. I didn't know anything about them. I was like 18 or something like that, 19, I don't know. And I was like, I wonder what that's about. Okay. Didn't rediscover them until I was like, I don't know, 30 or something. I don't know. And then it became a path of exploration for me, right? I found an old notebook of mine just today where I was talking about manifestation. I was like 25 and I was talking about manifestation. And then you discover the cards again. And then from the cards, you buy a book about The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Maybe I actually probably bought the book before the cards. Then you get the cards, right? Then another book. Then tarot client, right? I took a client for $3.33. Okay. That was my starting price, $3.33 to pull one card. Okay. And then from there, okay, you go from that to, your study. I'm a very studious kind of, I've always been like, reader, note, like anything. I'll overstudy anything. When I was 20, I started studying the monarchy, right? For absolutely no reason. I just always got something I'm chewing on. So I was studying monarchy, right? It's like 20 years old. Remember, I was dating this guy and he just totally stopped dating me because I was just always talking about all of this stuff. I was studying about monarchies and, queens. And I just thought it was dope. So I was studying it. So I started studying that. That's like 20. I just watched the timeline. I know I'm hopping all over the place. But so then it's like, now I'm back to my 30s. And then it's this book. And then it's that book. Then I got a master's in business that I didn't necessarily, I wanted it. But I initially went to school for nursing. So, right, I got a book I found today. I don't know if it's it's not around me right now, but one of the books I had was called Nurses, Witches, and Midwives. And then I bought a book called Medicine Woman. This when I was like 30. And I used to read them on break at work. And what I learned about was all these beautiful women that were herbalists, that were delivering babies and stuff like that before any of this, locking women out of the medical communities and you're a witch if you practice medicine. So I learned all of those things, right? Just at, randomly at work, I had these books. I only bought them because they was on sale. And I thought, this is fascinating. Midwives. And I thought, this is fascinating, right? Nurses, witches, and midwives are very much connected because we go back to herbal healers. It's kind of like the chain of herbal healers, right? So I was reading that, right? And I was doing that, okay? And then, right, so we get back to the cards. I guess I'm jumping all over the place in my 30s. And then from there, I think I read, I don't know, what book did I read next? I don't even remember, right? And then, I'm continuing to do that, and I'm just doing light readings for fun while I'm working. I was working as a project manager, right? Corporate project manager. And then we had the global shutdown. Okay. And then while that, I was following different people, right? Different members of the conscious community. I was discovering different kinds of music. I still had my cards. I discovered herbs, cedar and sage and, rose and all these different things. I'm continuing to read my books, and just keep up with things and, continuing to fellowship with women, doing readings. So I'm meeting all these fascinating women, digitally, meeting all these fascinating women that are all over the world, that are in Australia, that are in Britain. I'm hearing all these women's stories, like what women go through all over the world of different backgrounds, ethnicities, really not so different, right? So I'm doing this pandemic situation, and I'm doing I started doing a dual degree, so I got my master's in HR during COVID as well as my master's in project management, right? So I'm doing all of these things. I'm just getting myself, doing what I just being studious. Like that's my thing. I would do it this is what I like to do. So I'm learning all these different things about spirituality, and I'm on this path, and so then my Facebook page begins to get a lot of traction, right? I just lost that Facebook page the other day, but starts to get a lot of traction, right? Because now I'm posting the things that I know, and I'm doing readings. So I started getting attention. I got to 20,000 followers on that page. I started getting attention for that, for the study I'm doing on Oshun and, learning the Orishas and learning all these different things and learning. And actually that even started with one class that I took in college called Comparative Religions that I only took because it seemed like it was going to be easy. I was like, I'm going to take this. Comparative Religions. Okay, that's back to college. Now, as I'm jumping all over the place. And I took this one class. Okay, and this one class opened the door, right? That was the beginning of me saying, wait, there's all these other spiritual traditions out there. There's Caribbean traditions, there's Italian traditions, there's African traditions, there's Roman traditions, there's all these different, and then there's these goddesses, and there's all these different things. I want to know more about this, right? So again, now that happened before I got the cards. Okay, I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm just going through all these different things. And when I was a little bitty kid, I'm talking 4. Okay, I had this thing about the moon. I loved the moon. Okay, I used to think it was following me. I thought it was my friend, so I was always talking to it. Pointing to it. My mother would drive home, getting on her nerves, always pointing out the moon and pointing out like, oh, the moon, da 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 da. Since I was a really little kid, me and the moon have been like, that's my girl. Okay. And then I remember I was really into Thriller by Michael Jackson. And I used to be really scared of it because it started with It's Close to Midnight. I used to be really afraid of midnight when I was a little kid. Y'all, I don't know. Nothing ever happened at midnight, but Michael said something might happen. So I used to have an issue with midnight when I was a kid. Right. So, but I always loved being up all night. My mother never could get me to sleep at night. I was always up all night. She never could do nothing about it. She tried everything, putting me in the dark at night. I'd be like, baby, I'm up. I don't care. Well, I used to count the sheets on the flowers on the sheets if I had to, because I'm gonna be up. Okay. And okay, so now we're back, right? So we go through the shutdown, come out on the other side of that. So now I have this bigger page. I have, people that I have fellowship with in the spiritual community that, are like cool, so now I have people to vibe with, right? So remember, this is pulling me kind of away from some of the friends I had previously, okay? I know the book you're talking about, but I haven't read it. Some of the friends I had previously, right? Because we're not really on the same frequency no more. So now I'm moving in another direction, okay? And then, continuing on through that, through coming on here, doing readings or whatever. I just say all of this to say, when people say that, like, well, I don't think I'm ready, you got to understand the path. The path is continuous. And as you go through your life, the older that you get, you start to look back and you say, oh, there's a point that the universe was showing me something. There's a point that the universe was bringing me here. That was the first time I noticed that. This was the first time I noticed that. When I was 8 years old, this prophetess at church, okay, told me then, she said, you're going to be a very wise woman. That's going to be your path. I was 8. I was like, what is she talking about? I don't even care about that. You see this dress? Like, I always thought I was sharp, y'all. My mother used to have me some stuff. I had a fur coat and all that. I thought I was clean. I'm like, she talking about that for? She see this coat? What you talking about? You know, I'm in here clean in church. And she talking about wise. What do that even mean, Mom? But I actually reached out to that prophetess again when I was about 18, the same one. And she told me the same thing. She was like, you're going to be fine. I was very concerned about myself at that age. I was very concerned about myself because I was lost. Okay. I wasn't really on any path. I had just lost my grandmother, which was like the major matriarch of our family. And I was like totally lost. Okay. I was wild in high school. Okay. So I had like dropped out. I was out there. I was a creative kid. I was a creative mind. So that boxed in way of high school for me, I found like people, and the environment to me was just kind of silly. So I was outside. Getting life experiences. You know what I'm saying? I was kicking it. My boyfriend was older. I was out there. So now you hit that wall, okay? And you understand like, bruh, now what I'm gonna do? So I was lost. I was lost for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? So I've been outside and inside. And I just say that even that, all of that makes sense to me now. Even that. Even losing my grandmother, even not being in school, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. Every bit of it makes sense now. I look back, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I understand that, I understand everything that happened. I understand, being able to be, kind of understand both worlds, right? Or I've been a creative kid. I've been a dropout. I've been the overeducated Black woman. I've had money. I've been broke. I've been homeless. You know what I'm saying? I've been all over the place. And because of that, I have wisdom. See how that all goes together? Because I lost, my grandmother was like everybody in the family's mother, right? This was the primary mother figure. So I lost my mother in a sense young, like 18, 19 years old. So, and then things got difficult. So that prophecy, see, it's all on the path. I'm wise because, right? Not necessarily you think that something's going to just happen to you. Like you're going to wake up, and you're going to be, no, your life is going to create that for you. So you never, because that's what it is. So you don't have to go around looking for like, am I ready? Life is everything you're going through is going to take you to where you're supposed to be. That's just the way it works. So it's never any need to like be worried about that type of thing. Or for me, myself, it's been like, for me to be, right? For me to be who I am, I would have to be all of those contradictions, right? I would have to be like, I'm educated, but I've been outside, but I've been a dropout. I've been in the streets. I've been forgotten. I've been remembered. I've been spoiled. I've been coddled. I've been homeless. For me to be able to relate to humanity or have leadership qualities, it's because of all of those things. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. Yeah, everything happens the way it's supposed to. In order for you to be who you're going to be, if you're going to be, right? I used to love Pac because it was something for me to relate to. I always saw some of myself. You know what I'm saying? It was like this book smart dude that was wild, that was outside. That was something that I could really relate to. And he let me know that it was cool to be book smart. Like I really was like, okay, Pac making this book smart thing look thugged out. You know what I'm saying? So I love that about him. I learned that from him. And even as I got older, y'all, if people can feel the way they want about him, some people may have been there in his early teaching, some may not have been. But young Pharaoh, who we see is going through troubles right now, I always had a heart for him because I knew what it was like to be like kind of the really studious, gifted kid that's angry and upset, and you don't feel like you fit in, but you got all that. Like I could relate to his angst. I could relate to that, So I just seen, and you start to see different versions as you age. You know what I'm saying? You start to see different versions of yourself in other people. Unique perspective, but you have to have that experience. You have to go through those different things and those different versions of yourself. Yeah, me too. Me too. And I mean, he was just, it was to watch him was humbling. Like, wow. I was like, this is like this intellect, that was divine intellect. Okay. If you've never seen it, that was a time you've seen. I was like, I've never seen anything like this. Okay. And to watch what he's going through, it's hard to watch. But I feel like creative Black kids are so horribly treated in the community. They're overlooked, right? The school system doesn't nurture us, and you have to find your own way. So like being a creative, being spiritual, being eclectic, those things are not going to be nurtured in our community. I hate to see it too. Are not going to be nurtured in our community. So a lot of times we're angry, we're frustrated, we're dealing with potentially like you're not really in school because that's not really somewhere. And I did extremely well in school, but I was bored. I was like, it's, what else is going on, right? And then you have to deal with being ostracized for that. You know what I'm saying? People will try to make you feel a way about that. And now you're going to have to deal with people gloating, right? People that were struggling with you or jealous of you are glad to see you fall. Okay. They'll try to set you up so bad things can happen to you, right? They'll try to lure you into situations to be SA. Like, oh, I didn't experience some stuff out of jealousy, out of, they're so glad something happened to you. And they really want to make sure you never make a comeback. You know what I'm saying? Like just vicious. So, but even that was supposed to happen because in the end, it all falls down. Okay. It all adds up in the end, to who you are to be. So you can't even be mad at that. Those people, life experience, life lesson, nothing else you can really say, but that's something too. You have to think about that. How is the Black community treating spiritualists, creatives? Because any of us that are over 30 used to be kids. And when you were a kid, you probably was something like you are now, right? You were different or inquisitive or, artistic or creative, or there was some about you that was a little different. So you probably were always being treated away. Okay, yes, that's a good point too. Neurodivergence, that too. Those kids too, right? Community can be very hard on kids like that. Gifted, creative, neurodivergent, any of those boxes, it becomes very difficult socially. Socially, you have to kind of fight when you're from a community. The Black community, you had to kind of fight a little bit, to get through those spaces. It can be tough. You're not easily understood. Yeah. Teaching you what you're supposed to think. Everybody was real materialistic. You know what I'm saying? In my high school, it was all about clothes. It was all about fashion. I had things, but I just wasn't into that. And I feel like when I look back, the coolest kids in my school they were all outside, like cool graphic artists, break dancers, rappers, like all the coolest kids, the creative kids. There was nothing in there for us necessarily. That's what I mean. Like there's a gap there. There's a gap. That's why you start to see, as adults, you start to see, loneliness or irritation or struggles with anger from kids like that. That probably you're supposed to be. See, rich people raise their children to create, to be artists. They send them on the creative programs. They send them out of the country summer in Rome. But when you're from working class community and working class backgrounds and socioeconomic spaces, the thought process is that you're going to be a blue collar worker. Maybe you go to college, maybe you'll be a white collar worker. That's it. So nobody wants to hear about all your abstract ideas. That's dumb. Focus on school and go get a job at the light company. So when you're not like that, when you're naturally inclined to certain things, or maybe you're naturally tapped in, it was demonized, or you're naturally tapped in, they don't want that. It's like you wasting everybody's time. You're being weird. You're a weirdo, you're strange, or maybe you were interested in spiritual practices that aren't traditional. Sometimes people's parents were, more, especially people whose parents were baby boomers. Some of them were a little more spiritually eclectic. Okay. So now you're getting teased for that. Your parents don't want you to have a perm. You're getting teased for that. It was just so many ways that it was tough to be different in the community. Okay. And really, you weren't really different, but you just weren't doing the status quo. Okay. If you weren't doing the status quo, they make it hard. They make it so hard, so just having to survive all of that, that's tough. That's tough. You have to survive that. Yeah. Who cares about it? Like, you have it because your parents want you to have it or whatever, but who cares? Yeah, I mean, and it's like they try to put you down over all these different things and, put labels on you and stuff like that. And, and then too, you got to think a lot of times what you're paying for. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of times what you get punished for out here as a woman is if you were loved, because it shows. Like, if you had a family that really loved you or really doted on you or spoiled you, people will try to punish you. Somebody needs to bring you down a notch. Okay. And a lot of times it'll be in your own family. Okay, they'll be the main ones talking about, oh, you was so-and-so's favorite, and they trying to make everything difficult. And you gonna learn today. Baby, I done seen all types of stuff. And then, you experience things young. That's gonna give you a lot of wisdom. So I just say that to say, like, the path is always right in itself. And if you look back, you can see the study progression. Like, oh, I was always interested in that. Oh, wow, here go an old journal. Old journals really will tell you, like, oh, look, I was writing about that 15 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Things have a way. Yeah, your family always want to humble you, don't they? And those are things that you just learn. So I say that to say, like, yeah, the path is always there. So thinking like, oh, I have to find a way to, I have to find a way to, when am I going to be ready and all that. You probably been on the path the whole time. It's like I said about the Wizard of Oz. Like, after all was said and done, because think about it, right? The tornado or whatever it was, the tornado that took her, that broke the veil through for Dorothy, right? That whole thing was just in her mind. Think about it. The journey through Oz and those different parts of herself, right? The cowardly lion and all these different things, only for her to come back and realize that she could have portaled back at any time because she already had everything she needed with Auntie Em and all them. That whole fantasy, that whole dream, right? That whole experience was within her. It's while she was knocked out that she experienced that. That was all within her. She was, and that path that she took, she had to go all the way around the mulberry bush to realize that she already had the sweetness and the love that she needed. She had to go all around the mulberry bush. So that's how it is a lot of times. But when you look back, she was always on the path. She already had the family she needed. She already had the love. She already had the dedication. She already had the family. She already had her little dog and stuff like that. She already had it. She already had within herself the mental tools that she needed to create the vision that taught her everything that she needed to know. It was all within herself at the end of the day. That's how it is. So it's never about getting ready. Like you're already there. Whether we know it or not, like you're always on the path. The path is always writing itself, and you're always in your call in one way or the other. What? Because of social media, girl? Get out of here. And people would try to forever punish you for stuff like, because sometimes, if you don't know how dope you are, people have been sitting back waiting for something to happen to you. Anything could happen. You lose your job and you'll see people dancing and smiling. What you gonna do now? That's when you realize y'all hated me. Y'all hated me this whole time. Okay. Yeah, I thought that, right? You think that everybody had people that loved them and everybody was cool and every girl, no, they wasn't. Or people was out there and people was out here. Girl, people was out here, okay? Oh, I don't know. I actually grew up in the neighborhood. I used to work with Michelle Obama. I don't know. She was VP. I was a little guy. I was very young. So I was like, I met her once. And she scared me. I was so scared of Michelle Obama. I was like, oh, hi, are you the senator's wife? And she looked at me like, and I don't know if she was being mean, but I was really intimidated. Like, I'm short and Michelle Obama is not short. Like, she's a very tall, authoritative woman. And she was much older than me. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, oh my God. I didn't say I was scared. I was scared. I was like, oh, I just fell back. But she was well liked in the hospital that I worked in. She was well liked. I can say that. I didn't know her. I didn't, but people who worked with her, she was well liked. So that was my experience with Michelle Obama. Okay. I was very, very intimidated. I think it was her height. Like, she's much taller than me. But I don't know. I never really get into like, trying to figure out the spiritual disposition of the celebrities and stuff like that. She seems like a really professional, stern, like, I don't know if anybody ever had like those stern female principals. Like, they carry themselves very, like, yes, I'm Principal Douglas. They're distant. They're very stern. Hi, how are you? She had that type of demeanor. Very, very stern. She had like long, like a nice burgundy coat, and she had her hair pent back, and she just seemed very, very professional. Very, so like I said, she's a VP. Like, she was a high corporate executive. You know what I'm saying? And I was practically a kid, and I was just like, oh my God, hi. And I mean, I don't know that she was being mean. I just was intimidated. Like, she was a very tall, very striking, very firm woman. That's about all. I didn't speak with her, but I asked about her, and people liked her. Like, she seemed to be pretty much liked. I mean, if somebody's intimidated by you, it's nothing you can do. It's like me. Like, I was younger, and I was just, she was a very grown, authoritative woman, and I was intimidated. It was nothing I guess she could have tried to like been really nice and coddling or something like that. But I was too young. I was young. I wasn't ready, for that type of lady. I was not ready for that. So she just seemed really, really professional. Like, she's very polished. She was very polished. I was like 20. I was young. I was young. I was, you're still at that age where you kind of see adults like you would see teachers or something. You don't see them as equals. You're still kind of like, hi, miss, whatever. But I mean, it was like, think about it, it's nothing she could have done. So if somebody's intimidated by you, they just intimidated. It's nothing you can really do. I mean, you could be kind to them, but if they're struggling with, because intimidation comes from within. They're intimidated by you because of what they have going on within. What can you do about that? I mean, if you know you didn't do, like I didn't do anything to you, like I wasn't cruel to you or anything. So if you're intimidated, you're intimidated. Yeah. She was in her vibe. She was in her bag. I was just like, because I was approaching her really, really like, oh my God, hi. Because at that time she was the senator's wife. He was the senator. And I was approaching her like, and I actually think she just was more like, kind of like, who are you? Can I help you type of, I think she just didn't know who I was and what I wanted. Like, it was around the campus of the job, but we weren't in the job anymore. We were outside. So I think she more or less was kind of like, who are you? But that was enough for me, especially like she was much taller. But I was like, let me leave Miss Obama. I went on about my business. Girl, no. The DMV, no. See you, Tiffany. Yeah, she was in her vibe. She was in her vibe, but I grew up like 2 blocks from them, from the Obamas. They was around the neighborhood all the time. Like that, Farrakhan lived like 2 blocks down, and then they lived 2 blocks down the other way, the Obamas. They were nice, like, they were nice folks. I mean, from, people I knew, like my cousin got his hair cut in the shop while, Barack was in there a few times. They were nice. They was like regular neighborhood people. Nothing out of the ordinary. Oh, listen, that Michelle is something else, okay? That Michelle is something else. She's a piece of work. Okay. You can just tell, like you can just feel it. Like, and when you're in those corporate spaces like that, you have to be tough, and that wasn't really like, I'm more of an intuitive, like I don't love that space, but a lady like her, and she comes from being an attorney, a lady like her, I know she can handle herself. Like she probably was killing it in those corporate spaces because she's, you could feel it, like she means business. I'm like the spiritual girl. Like I don't like all that confusion and prejudice. I don't care for all that. But I bet you she was in there kicking and taking names. Okay. Yeah, she definitely got thick skin because the way she carries herself. Yeah, she was impressive. She was impressive. Hey, well, I mean, childhood was, it was all right. It was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was what it was, but I mean, that was a decent environment, you know what I'm saying? Nice environment. And multicultural community, so getting to be around lots of other people, so other ethnicities and cultures, being raised in I raised in a multicultural family. So, I was prejudiced in corporate was very shocking for me. Very shocking because my family is like, there's me, there's white folks, there's Asian folks, there's all types of folks at the Christmas table in my family. So when I went there and went out into corporate and experienced, certain cultures that were not these open liberal people, I was stunned. I had never experienced anything like it. The community I came from was multicultural. Everybody was cool. Everybody was, vibing, like, you know what I'm saying? And, coming from a blue state, like I was like, what are y'all even doing in a blue state with these attitudes? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a lot. It feels good to not be in those corporate spaces. Those spaces are just, there's a lot of wickedness in those spaces. And that's what people don't talk about. We could talk about the prejudice and stuff all day, but what we really talk about is the spiritual climate in a lot of corporate spaces, because these corporations, okay, a lot of them are entities. And that's a very, they say it like it's a legal term, but it's an entity, and it's in there bleeding people and facilitating certain type of energy, and it's just not cool. Listen, I just saw the lady. She worked upstairs. She was a big fish. I was not, okay? I was a little secretary. She worked upstairs, okay? And I was just like, I had heard that she worked there. And I'm like, oh, wow, the senator's wife works in here with me? I'm like, hi, you know? And that was so me, especially when I was younger, like so like eager, like, hi, how are you? And she was looking like, who is this little girl? Okay. Oh, Maleficent. That's it. I think that's all. I Maleficent. Like that's it. That's it. That's all. That's the baddest. And I'm talking about the Maleficent from the original Disney film. I'm not talking about the new feminist Angelina Jolie Maleficent, which that was dope. I'm not saying that. But when you ask my favorite character, it's that old school Maleficent. It's that Maleficent from back yonder way. Okay. Oh, hey, how you doing, Shimmer? And I love Maleficent. Okay, what she had, what she said. Maleficent said, I don't know the whole spell, but she said, "Round Stefan's castle, cast my spell," and all them thorns came up. See, she was using her divine feminine rage, the dark feminine rage, the right way, baby. She said, "Y'all gonna pay for how y'all did me." Okay, went up there and put that girl to sleep. I said, "You better go off, Maleficent." Yeah, Mae West is cool. Mae West is fly. I like old movies. You know, one of my favorite old movies is actually Butterfield 8 with Elizabeth Taylor, where she played, what was that girl name she played in there? Gloria Wondrous. She was a lady of the evening, and that married man fell in love with her. Liz Taylor says she hated that movie, okay? But she won an Oscar for it. Butterfield 8. I love me some Butterfield 8. Yes. Liz was out there clowning, baby. Okay, Liz was out there. And the man's wife, if y'all want to see a good analysis, if you will, of dark and light, or representation of like dark and light energy, y'all should look at that movie. Y'all should check out his wife. Her name was, I don't remember what, it don't even matter what her name was. Y'all should check out his wife, the little blonde that he was married to. And then he was in love with Liz. Y'all should check that out. And then Liz had that little man, that little childhood friend of hers. Y'all should check that out. Butterfield 8. Butterfield. Okay, Butterfield 8. Child, that one was a mess. But I love that. I mean, I like a lot of Elizabeth Taylor movies, but I love that one. Yeah, Liz was something to see, wasn't she? She's a pretty lady. But yeah, Mae West is cool too. Like Mae West was just super sassy. I liked Mae West. Like she had the one-liners. I liked Marilyn Monroe too. She was fly too. Vivian Lee. Like they had a lot of Dorothy Dandridge. Like they had a lot of great leading ladies. Because back then you had to be able to do some of everything. Sing, act. You had to be able to do your big one. Back then you couldn't just, like now, a lot of these girls, they can kind of act. Okay, that's it. They can kind of act. They look pretty all right in their clothes. You know, back then you had to have it all. You had to be singing, you had to be dancing, you had to be acting, you had to be able to do Broadway, you had to be able to do the theater, you had to be able to pull off them designer fashions, you had to be able to have a face, your face had to eat. Like it was a lot. Oh yeah, Grace Jones is bad. Josephine Baker is another one. Yeah, she's bad. She was so fearless. Eartha Kitt, okay? Lady Eloise. Lady Eloise. And Grace Jones, speaking of Boomerang, Grace Jones, I loved me some Jacqueline Breuer. Now that was my girl, okay? That's some, there go another one, okay? Maleficent, but Jacqueline Breuer, girl, and Boomerang, got Eddie Murphy right together. What'd he say? Well, I feel, what'd he tell her? When she told him when she went to the taxi cab, she said, "Fine, Marcus, it's over." Just like that. Cool, cold, nothing. Didn't give him no energy. "Fine, Marcus, It's over. Girl left them 220s on the nightstand. She said what she thinks. So you think you're in love with Angela now? And what she tell Angela when Angela come, whatever it is you're doing to Marcus is affecting his work. Girl, what Robbie Givens say? What I'm doing to him? Well, it seems like whatever it is I'm doing to him, you're taking it pretty personally. Am I picking? So what's going on? I said, you better go off, Jacqueline Breuer. I liked her. I wonder whatever happened to her. That was my girl. Girl, she probably married some upstanding rich white businessman with money and ended up owning a company. Okay. That sound like Jacqueline Breuer to me. Girl, she was tearing it up. Yeah, Robin Givens got down on that. She got down on that. And then Marcus Graham, he was only with Angela. Y'all know I ain't lying. He was only with Angela because what? Because she would have him. She shouldn't even have been with him. Because he still, I don't care what he was trying to act like. You couldn't handle Jacqueline Breuer. So you're going to crawl over there to Angela. He should have let Angela be with Todd. Wasn't that his friend's name? David Allen Greer. He should let Angela be with Todd. Yeah, Jacqueline was the girl. He should have let her be with Todd. Was that his friend's name? The one with the wild parents, John Witherspoon. Yeah, she was real nice. She was playing a little nice girl. Yeah, Angela Bassett is cold. I don't care what role you're talking about. Angela Bassett is just the girl. I liked her in Vampire in Brooklyn. That was a sleeper. People slept on that, but that was pretty cool, the little Brooklyn vampire. Oh, Whitley Gilbert. That's my girl. I'm excited for this A Different World coming back on. Y'all heard Brandy singing the theme song the other day? Brandy ate that up. Brandy ate that theme song up. Okay. I'm excited for that. Whitley, now that was my girl. My best friend growing up, her girl was Claire Huxtable. And I like Claire, but baby, Whitley changed my life. That was the first time, like I was really young when A Different World was on. I might have been like 6. But that was the first time that I knew that I could be different and still be a part of the crew. Like, cause she rocked with them, but she was nothing like them. Like she had the whole, and she had the clothes. I loved Whitley. Okay. My whole childhood coming up, I loved Whitley. I would wait all week for Whitley. Okay. So I am very excited to see this show come back. Cause baby, me and Whitley, what Dwayne, baby, me and Whitley. Diana Ross. Okay, there go a dark feminine. There go the villain in the story. I went to see that wedding was dope. I went to see Miss Diana when I was like, it was like 10 years ago, maybe not even that long ago. And I mean, I was mesmerized. First time I'd ever seen her. And I was just like, this is like seeing the Snow Queen in real life. There were older men, y'all, in the audience at this Diana Ross show, standing in the audience, standing in the aisles like this. I mean, like she was a goddess. And she was commanding the audience with, y'all know Diana Ross, like she not doing much. She not twerking. She's commanding the audience with her voice. Her, she walks, she do a little conversation, and she have her few little moves. Like she have a little move, she do her little, her little stuff she do. And her femininity had the room entranced. People were silent, men sitting there looking like, oh my God. Like I was like, this is real power. I love it. Was not this mess now, the twerking and the da-da-da-da and look at me. No, she was commanding the room with pure feminine energy. Had everybody in the chokehold. I love Miss Ross. And I know what they say about her, but I don't care. Okay. She can be a villain. That's right. She was something, wasn't she? She's still out here performing too. She's on tour right now. Oh, Pam Grier is sickening. What? Pam Grier is bad. Jill Scott. Erykah Badu. Lauren and Erica is out here together. I need to get some music. Lauren. Okay. Hey, yo, it's funny how money changes situation. Miscommunication leads to complication. Someone play young Lauren like she dumb. Okay, come on, Lauren. Okay, I like Lauren. I love Erica. I love Erica. Okay, I seen Erica before. I went to see Erica. I've never seen Lauren, but I have seen Erica, and she was magical. She was magical. She did yeah, right, Tyrone, and she did what's that one? I'm a recovering undercover over lover. I love that one. That one is so dope. And I lie for you. That's cold. I love that. Pop and screw for you. Erica be clowning. Erica be clowning out here. We ain't got an album from Erica in a long time. Like, oh, Rihanna. Now there's some dark feminine energy that I love. I love Rihanna. I don't care what she do. Okay. Pose, man. Okay. I love me some Reed. Lift me up. Okay. Hold me down. I love me some Reed. Reed, girl. Reed be coming out doing stuff. I be going off there, be like, Rihanna, like, wah! I go full groupie by me some Rihanna. My Venus in Aries sister. Okay. Love me some Reed. The Barbados. Okay, come on now. Meeting Erica. All right, y'all, I'm finna get out of here because actually my phone finna die. You know, we could do this for another 2 or 3 hours. But I do thank y'all for coming through, hanging out with me, okay? Feel like the end of a rap song. I want to thank y'all for coming out, hanging out with me tonight, okay? Venus and Capricorn, you can attract a lot of grounded money, love, energy. Right. You see the money signs, exactly. But yes, y'all. So I do thank y'all for hanging out, y'all. Okay. Y'all know we're gonna be back. Please do rewatch it. Y'all know we're gonna be back. This was a fun live. Okay, we had a lot of fun. Y'all done planned retreats and all types of stuff. And you know, yeah, we gonna catch back up. Okay, but yes, so dark and light feminine energy, okay? Keep those things in mind and we will continue to build on them and on manifestation, okay? So as always, I will catch you ladies in the next one, okay? Oh, but what I did mean to say, I went all around the mulberry bush about my path, right? Lining up. You see everything, okay, that I mentioned to y'all, okay? And if you go back, you can see that. Everything that I mentioned to y'all that I studied has shown up right here, right? Didn't I tell y'all I used to study the monarchy? I didn't know we was going to have no channel. I don't even think YouTube existed at the time. I used to study the monarchy, okay? I studied spirituality, okay? I was a rebel, right, in school. I was a rebel. I was creative. I was going my own way. I was raised by strong matriarchs. I, studied like the Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, different things about manifestation, right? And these things in the story start when I'm like 18, right? Up to studying the monarchy, the Queen's House in Winter, right? This is a culmination of a path that I've been on, right? I never was trying to be any of these particular things. I was just living my life. The prophecy about the wisdom and all of these different things ultimately came full circle, right? So that was the reason I was telling all of that information. So just to bring that on around full circle, okay? But all right. So thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night. Okay, look, we're gonna see if the live. Remember, we had problems ending these lives. Let's see what happened, y'all. Y'all.